Hello and welcome back to the Quarantine Theater Company. Tonight we're going to be doing the seminal favorite, The Proposal. Woo! Unfortunately, we don't have Ryan Reynolds here today, but we do have Eric with us, who's just as funny and adorable. He's going to be our Richard Paxton, which is the original character name for Andrew. Also joining us as scene description, and she's also going to be Kevin/Balzac, which is the dog. Which I just couldn't. There we go. She knows her lines. We've got Jen. Lynn is joining us tonight. Her main character is going to be Debbie, Richard's mother. Chelsea's joining us. She's going to be our Grandma Annie. So she's going to be doing her best Betty White and her blue hair, which is appropriate for an old lady. We've got Logan joining us tonight as Richard's dad, Jeffrey, or Joffrey. I feel like when it's spelled Geoffrey, it's Joffrey. Kevin's joining us. He's going to be the INS agent, Mr. Gilbertson. And Travis is going to be our Gertrude tonight. So do your best, Malin Ackerman, okay? And I will be playing Margaret this evening. So without further ado, go for it.
The Proposal by Pete Chiarelli. And I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. Anyway, fade in. Interior Margaret's apartment, early morning. The sun peeks over the horizon. There's a stunning view of Central Park from this apartment, but whoever lives here isn't watching. As we wander through expensive furniture, a steady thump, thump, thump echoes through the apartment. Eventually, we see Margaret Mills, 37, running on a treadmill, watching the OC, nice, on TiVo, and reading a manuscript. She sprints as the clock on her treadmill goes to 0. As she hits a button to stop the treadmill, interior woman's apartment, early morning. A hand knocks an alarm clock off, a table to off. Richard Paxton, 26, wakes up on pink sheets and looks around to figure out where he is. There are multiple framed pictures of the same model on the walls. Richard looks at the clock and gets up quickly when he sees that it's 6:16 a.m. Unfortunately for him, he is very hungover.
Where are my clothes?
A blob beneath the sheets next to him answers. Simone is the model on the walls and is really, really hot.
In the kitchen, I think. Can I make you some coffee?
Sorry, I gotta go. I'm late.
Richard hurries to the kitchen. Socks are on the butcher block next to an empty champagne bottle. Shoes are in the sink. He finds his pants on the floor and puts them on.
Have you seen my belt?
Simone looks around and sees it's tied to her headboard.
In here.
She unties the complicated knot. Richard comes back half-dressed. He swallows a little throw-up.
Oh, maybe. I just can't do this anymore.
Interior Margaret's apartment, early morning. Margaret puts on a black suit jacket, definitely not off the rack. She makes sure she looks perfect in the mirror and moves off. Interior woman's apartment, early morning. Reflected in the mirror above Simone's bed, Richard hurriedly gets dressed as he talks.
You're just too much for me. I'm just another guy too wrapped up in this job.
Fine, whatever. Just go.
Richard sits down on the bed and locks eyes with Simone.
Let's not end it like that. It's been an amazing 3.5 weeks. Thank you. And you should know that you have the nicest ass I've ever been with.
You mean it?
I do. It's magnificent.
I work really hard on it.
I know you do.
Simone smiles and begins to seductively pull the sheets off her naked body. Richard shakes his head no and smiles.
I really gotta go. Damn.
Interior Margaret's kitchen, early morning. Crunch. Margaret eats a bowl of kashi and soy milk while standing and reading a manuscript. Her eyes remain glued to her reading as she rinses out her bowl and puts it in the dishwasher. Her apartment is very quiet. Exterior New York street morning. Honk! A cab blares its horn at Richard as he runs across the street. His suit is rumpled and he checks his watch. Interior Margaret's lobby, morning. Ding! The elevator opens and Margaret strides toward the exit and the doorman, 60. Before Margaret gets to the door, her cell phone rings. She checks the caller ID and excitedly points at her phone as she lets it ring. You're muted.
I knew you would call. Now, come on, tell me what I want to hear. Give it to me.
You have to put it by your mouth so people can hear you.
You get paid extra for being so darn funny.
Margaret straightens her jacket, answers the phone, and walks out the door.
This is Margaret.
Interior skyscraper lobby morning. Richard bursts into the skyscraper and runs into a Starbucks. Interior Starbucks morning continuous. 2 coffees lie in wait for Richard. Jillian, a lovely barista, smiles as he hurries to the counter.
Guessing that's Travis.
I'm
You're
not Jillian.
running late today.
Oh, Jillian, you were the best.
Can you just take Jillian?
Me or Travis?
Yes, I can take Jillian.
Go.
You're running late today.
Again, Jillian, you are the best.
If you think I'm good at this, you should use a coffee cup sometime.
No.
As he runs out the door, Richard glances at his cup and smiles at Jillian's name and phone number written in Sharpie.
See you tomorrow. No.
Interior skyscraper lobby morning continuous. The elevator doors ahead of Richard begin to close. Mercifully, a hand reaches out and stops the doors. Inside the packed elevator, Richard's coworkers look sleepy. One particularly frustrated coworker confronts Richard.
How long is she gonna make us come in by 7?
She doesn't exactly consult with me on these things.
Well, this sucks ass.
Welcome to my nightmare.
Doors close as exterior New York Street morning. Margaret crosses the street and talks on the phone.
You've been thinking about our talk because I'm right. Everyone does publicity. Roth, McCourt, Russo, hell, Chabon practically pours himself. Know what they have in common? A Pulitzer. Yes, I know you haven't done it in 20 years, but that's how long it's been since you've written a book this good.
Interior Royce Publishing morning. Richard bursts out of the elevator and passes a clock reading 6:56 and a sign that announces Royce Publishing. He hauls ass through a sea of cubicles. Along the way, grumpy employees begrudgingly nod their good mornings. At his desk, he pulls a tie out of the drawer and puts it on without looking in the mirror. Noticing his wrinkled suit, he pulls out a spray bottle out of the same drawer, sprays it all over his body, and then on his head to help mat down a tricky cowlick. Satisfied, he hurries into a nearby corner office. Interior skyscraper lobby morning. Margaret walks into the lobby and continues talking. Employees avoid her and pile into the elevator.
I'm not pushing so you'll sell more books. I'm pushing because it'll be a crime if the world doesn't hear what you wrote. A genius piece of literature. Do the publicity.
Margaret waits for an answer and smiles when she hears yes.
You're making the right decision. Great news. Going into an elevator, I think I'm going to lose you.
Margaret hangs up. Never give them a chance to change their mind. Interior Margaret's office morning. Richard races to Margaret's computer and turns it on. He picks up papers strewn about the room. He goes back to the computer and opens up computer programs. Interior Royce Publishing reception morning. Margaret exits the elevator and receives an enthusiastic
Good morning.
Margaret quickly walks by and gives only the slightest nod. Interior Royce Publishing morning. Margaret walks through the cubicles and nods hello to her staff, who all look busy on the phone. When she turns the corner, they stop their conversations in mid-sentence and hang up. Interior Margaret's office morning. Richard stares at the printer as a sheet of paper comes out. A clock above the door reads 7 a.m. The paper clears the printer and Richard grabs it quickly. Interior Royce Publishing morning. Margaret opens the door to her office and finds Richard standing at attention with papers in one hand and coffee in the other. Her office looks perfect.
You've got a conference call in 30, a staff meeting in 9, and your immigration lawyer sent you some papers for you to sign.
Cancel the call, move the meeting to 8. I've got Frank to do publicity.
Nice job.
When I want your praise, I'll ask for it. Is Bob here?
I'm sure. You want him on the phone?
We're going to his office. Grab your pad.
Richard calmly backs out of the office. Interior Richard's desk, continuous, but once he's out of Margaret's sight, he runs to his computer and sends an instant message to the office. The Banshee is headed to Bob's office. Interior Royce Publishing, warning. As the message pops up on computers, the quiet office jumps to life as everyone in a cubicle picks up their phone and resumes their imaginary conversations. Interior Richard's desk, morning. Margaret comes out to Richard's desk. She notices his coffee cup with Jillian's number on it. She takes special notice of the hearts that dot the I's in Jillian.
That's cute. You gonna call her today?
What?
Richard doesn't know what Margaret is talking about until she nods at the cup. He's embarrassed.
Are you bored here? Do you need a little distractions like that to get through the day?
Um,
Have another late night out?
Maybe.
Margaret starts walking. Richard quickly catches up, worried because he doesn't know where she's going with this.
I'm firing on all cylinders, and you've got hearts on your coffee cup, wicked bedhead, and a wrinkled suit that you wore yesterday.
Oh, well, it won't be wrinkled for long.
Magically unwrinkle?
Yes.
You have magic bands.
No, I've sprayed them with stuff that will take care of the wrinkles.
Does this work on more than just your pants?
Anything that's wrinkled.
Buy me some.
Will do.
Richard makes a note. Margaret stops to make her point.
I don't care what you do or who you do on your own time, but when you walk through that door, you represent me, and I will not have your personal life affect your work. If you want me to think of promoting you to editor, I need you sharp, focused, and professional. Got it?
Got it.
Great. Now, you're just a prop in here, so don't say a word.
Interior Bob's office continuous. Margaret and Richard enter Bob's office, which is decorated with beautiful antiques and first edition books. But unlike Margaret's office, this one isn't in the corner. Margaret nods at Richard to shut the door. Bob, 42, wears a prim bow tie, circular tortoiseshell glasses, and the air of superiority.
Hey, Bob.
Ah, our fearless leader and her liege.
Margaret smiles.
I'm letting you go, Bob.
Pardon?
You're fired.
What? What are you talking about?
This isn't working out.
But you can't.
I asked you repeatedly to get Frank to do publicity. You said it was impossible.
It is. He doesn't do publicity.
I just talked to him. He's in.
But I'm.
No more buts, Bob. I have been chief for a month and a half, and this is the third time you've dropped the ball. You didn't even call him to ask.
Blank space.
All you had to do was pick up the phone. That's it. Now, I'll give you 2 months to find a new job, and then you can say you resigned. I won't tell a soul. My lips are sealed.
Margaret nods at Richard and he opens the door. Interior Royce Publishing continuous. Margaret and Richard walk a few steps. Margaret looks straight ahead and whispers to Richard.
What's he doing?
Richard turns around and takes a peek. Bob gets out of his chair and comes up to his door.
He's up and about to pop.
Oh, Bob, don't do it.
You poisonous bitch. You can't fire me.
The office stops. This is going to be good. Margaret turns around with a disappointed look on her face. She's deadly calm.
What are you doing? I gave you a civilized way out of this.
This is because I'm your competition, because I threaten you.
Oh, Bob, you can never threaten me. I'm firing you because you're lazy, entitled, and incompetent. I'm firing you because you don't work hard. So if you know what's good for you, you'll shut up, take off that ridiculous bow tie, find a bar, and get drunk. Because if you say one more word, Richard here is going to call security and have you thrown out on your ass. Are we perfectly clear?
Bob nods.
Good. Now I've got work to do. So if you'll excuse me.
Margaret and Richard walk away and speak in hushed tones.
We need to call his authors and explain what happened and get Frank's publicity schedule figured out pronto.
No problem. I'll just cancel my trip this weekend.
I gave you the weekend off.
It's my grandma's 90th birthday, but no big deal. You were right before. I need to stay focused, professional.
Interior Richard's desk day. Richard is on the phone with his mom explaining why he can't come home this weekend. She sounds like an annoyed, or he sounds like an annoyed teenager.
Tell Gammy that I'm sorry. Well, Mom, she's making me work this weekend. It's not like I volunteered. I'm sure Dad is pissed.
Margaret comes to Richard's desk. He tries to wrap it up.
I have to go. Yeah. I'm not gonna do that. No. Sort of, Mom. No. Bye.
Richard hangs up the phone.
Sorry about that. Damage control.
She tell you to quit?
No. Yes, but every day. But as I've explained to them, after 3 years together, you're the only person on the planet who can make me an editor. So that's the way it is.
Richard's phone rings and he picks it up.
Your 1055 is here. Mr. Gilbertson?
Who is this guy?
He said you knew each other. You weren't sure. So you told me to set a meeting. So we were scheduled on him about 4 times.
Go get him. But he's out of here in 5 minutes. We've got work to do.
Margaret leaves and goes into her office.
I'll charge up the cattle prod.
Interior Margaret's office day. Margaret reads as Mr. Gilbertson, 48, sits down. He's an intense man in a bad suit. He sits in silence until Margaret looks up.
Margaret, good to see you. I know how busy you are. Congrats on the promotion. Read about it in PW.
Yeah, well, those announcements are silly, aren't they? Like everyone who needs to know already.
Margaret has been trying to figure out how she knows this man, but now gives up.
I have to admit, I can't place where we knew each other from.
Gilbertson smiles. He didn't expect her to remember.
3 years ago, we worked together.
Don't have it.
Remember Dandelion's Desire?
Margaret gets excited.
Oh my God, you read that manuscript with me. Oh, that book is a legend. Without a doubt, the worst ever written.
You think?
Yeah, it was a fever dream. Jeez, 900 offensive, pointless pages, like with 30 characters. So I could give him a weird, have some weird disability with a paraplegic pornographer and the stuttering scientist. Oh God. There's the aesthetic alien chapter written entirely in his alien language.
I believe there was a glossary.
Margaret laughs, caught up in the memory.
Did you see the past letter I wrote him?
Your grammar is impeccable, but please do not confuse superior form with writing ability. Save your skills for the office newsletter. You, sir, are no writer.
A beat. Margaret says, matter of fact.
You wrote the book.
I did.
You're Dante Dickens?
One of my nom de plumes.
Gilbertson paces. Margaret stays seated, at a loss.
I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. You obviously were spending a lot of time writing, and I just thought you should channel that passion, channel it into something else.
Gilbertson smiles as he pulls a badge from his coat pocket.
Miss Mills, I'm with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. I'm deporting you to Canada.
Excuse me, what? This is a mistake. I've lived here since 1981. I'm applying for citizenship.
You need citizenship now. After the big promotion?
Yes, and all the papers are in.
Gilbertson pulls out a stack of papers and throws them down.
Well, my office is going to reject your paperwork on Monday while we investigate whether your behavior is well disposed to the good order and happiness of the United States. We must protect our sovereignty.
I'm a threat to the sovereignty of the United States.
Yes, and unfortunately my investigation will take a while, so you'll be deported while your case winds through the system. Will it affect you at work if you aren't allowed to enter the U.S. for the next 2 to 3 years?
Affect me at work? I'll lose my job.
Ah, that's a shame. Too bad we can't work something out.
Margaret stops looking at her file. It all becomes clear.
Oh, no. I won't do it.
Do what, Miss Mills?
I'm not going to do it.
I've edited it down. It's better.
Well, then get it published at another house.
They all just don't get me.
Aw?
Well, not all. 250, 261-ish.
I'll be fired and laughed out of the industry if I publish that book.
I'm at the end of my rope, Miss Mills. I'm an author, not some bureaucrat who brings a Lunchable to work every day and lives in his brother's garage. You're the last stop, and I'm desperate.
I will never publish your book.
There's no need to make this difficult. I don't turn in your file until Monday.
This is blackmail. I'll go to your boss.
I've spent 2 years preparing for this day. Don't you think I've thought of that?
Now Margaret is pacing while Gilbertson happily looks on. Suddenly, the door opens and Richard bursts in, acting like there is an emergency so Margaret can end the meeting.
Excuse me, Miss Mills. Risk management needs you right away.
The sight of Richard inspires Margaret. She turns to Gilbertson with a wicked grin on her face.
Oh, you know what, Dante? I'm not going anywhere. We're getting married.
Richard has no idea what Margaret is talking about.
Who's getting married?
We are.
You and him?
Stop playing around, honey.
Margaret is all smiles. Richard is very confused.
Mr. Gilbertson is from the INS, and I told him about us getting married.
You are marrying your male secretary?
Assistant?
You are marrying your male assistant?
Oh, we're in love. We tried to write it, and then write it it's right.
And this has nothing to do with my visit here today.
Nope. True love, got it bad.
You. Is this true? Are you marrying this woman?
Margaret comes over to Richard and holds his hand.
Of course we are.
Of course you are.
Painfully long beat where Richard doesn't answer. Margaret squeezes Richard's hand hard.
Uh-huh.
Margaret smiles and snuggles up to Richard so he can put his arm around her. Richard is truly afraid.
I'm marrying my boss?
Margaret turns and puckers her lips to let Richard know that she's ready for a kiss. The two slowly begin to come together. Just as their dry lips are about to touch, Richard chickens out and kisses the hair on the top of her head.
5 years in prison and $250,000 fine.
What?
If I prove you're lying, you go to federal prison for 5 years.
Gilbertson takes out a pad and takes notes.
You. Do you know what you're getting yourself into? We're going to put you in a room and ask you every detail that a real couple would know about each other. Do you even know her favorite color?
Richard doesn't answer. Margaret encourages him on with a thinly veiled threat.
Come on, answer. You don't have a choice.
Richard doesn't want to do this, but relents.
Plum.
You mean purple?
No, plum is smokier than purple.
Favorite flower?
Tulips, but only when they're in season.
Childhood pet name?
Mrs. Mittens.
Are we done here?
Who knows you're getting married?
No one. With us working together, we decided it would be too much scandal if anyone knew.
Have you at least told your family?
My parents are dead.
How convenient. So you're not telling anyone that you are getting married?
Nope.
Gilbertson smiles and puts down his pad.
Pathetic. 4 questions, and I've got enough to send you to prison.
We're telling his family this weekend.
We are.
Yes, we are. We're surprising them. It's his Gammy's 90th birthday.
And where's that going to be?
At Richard's parents' house.
And where is that located?
In his hometown.
Sitka.
Sitka.
Is that on Long Island?
Only Richard has the answer. Margaret tries to cover.
Why don't you tell him?
Alaska.
You're going to Alaska this weekend.
Yes, of course we're going to Alaska. That's where Richard is from.
Gilbertson begins to walk around. He's getting worked up.
You think you can beat me with this BS story, forcing your secretary assistant to marry you and then conveniently telling his family for the first time this weekend?
I'm sorry, Dante. Did you not prepare for that?
Margaret puts her arm around Richard and waits in silence. Enraged, but with no recourse for now, Gilbertson checks his appointment book and writes down some information.
The INS will see you both in 10 days for your official interview. Your stories better match up on every account.
Mr. Gilbertson gets right up in Margaret's face as he gives her the piece of paper.
Cross all your T's And dot your I's with this ruse, Miss Whitnails.
There are no T's or I's in love, Mr. Gilbertson.
Gilbertson leaves and shuts the door hard. Margaret goes back to her desk like this is all in a day's work.
So, why are you from Alaska? Sweet Jesus, God, that's inconvenient. So here's what's going to happen. We'll play boyfriend and girlfriend this weekend for your parents, and that should be enough for this INOS interview.
Richard doesn't react. Margaret doesn't notice.
So you need to figure out the schedule, adjust this of the piece for next week, and get my lawyer on the phone.
Margaret takes a sip of her coffee and makes a face.
But first run down and get me another coffee from your girlfriend. This one's cold.
Margaret holds out her coffee cup. Richard doesn't move.
Richard? Hello? Richard?
Richard says his first words since Gilbertson left.
I quit.
Richard leaves Margaret's office. She still has her coffee mug outstretched in her hand. Interior Voice Publishing, continuous. Richard powers through the office. Co-workers take note that Margaret is following him.
Richard, come back here!
Margaret tries not to make a scene.
Come back here! Come back to the office!
Richard pushes the elevator button in front of reception.
Will you shut up? You just lost your I get to tell Richard what to do privileges.
Well, we need to talk.
Well, you want to talk with me? Fine. Grab your broom and let's go.
Margaret is dumbstruck. The receptionist is shocked. The elevator arrives and Richard gets in. Margaret follows. As the doors close, Richard shouts out to the receptionist. Exterior Central Park Day. Richard and Margaret walk in silence through the park. Richard finally speaks.
Your plan is psychotic.
Well, I'd rather poke my eyes out than play pretend girlfriend, but this is the big time. Sometimes you need to sack up.
Are Canadians supposed to be nice?
You want to be an editor? You want to make money? You want to make books?
Okay, fine. Then if we make this happen, you're promoting me to editor.
I'm doing what?
We go to Alaska and lie to my family. Iris going to jail? Well, you're making me editor for that. I mean, did you think I'd do this out of the kindness of my heart?
You work for me.
You know, during my employee orientation, the HR rep didn't mention anything about me marrying you.
Look, I came to this town alone with nothing. I've worked my ass off for 15 years, and this guy wants to ruin me because he wrote the shittiest book of all time. No way.
Nice story, Little Orphan Annie, but that sounds like your problem, not mine.
Margaret is stuck. Richard really does have the upper hand here.
Fine. You take me to Alaska this weekend, I'll make you editor. Deal?
Margaret puts out her hand to shake. Richard takes it.
And I'm not sleeping on your parents' hide-a-bed. We're staying in a hotel. Do they even have hotels in Alaska?
No, they have huts, teepees, really, and you have to poop in a bucket, but otherwise, just like the Four Seasons, but with bears.
Exterior plane to Seattle Day. A commercial jet takes off and leaves New York City behind. Interior plane to Seattle Day. Richard and Margaret sit in first class and work on their laptops. Richard looks up.
Shouldn't we talk about what we're gonna, I don't know, say to my parents?
Margaret doesn't look up, annoyed with the question.
Are you done with the press release?
Almost.
Well, let's finish big people business before Mommy and Daddy talk, okay?
Dejected, Richard goes back to work. Interior Seattle Airport Day. As they change planes in Seattle, Margaret walks quickly and talks on the phone. Still the assistant, Richard lags behind, weighed down by both their bags. Up ahead at the gate, a gate attendant, female, 50s, announces final boarding to Sitka. Margaret gets off her phone.
So what do I need to know up there? Bullet points.
I told them we've been dating for 6 months. We've kept it a secret from everyone, and you're not even mention the shop.
Richard and Margaret make it to the attendant at the gate. Margaret is not amused by Richard's attempt at humor.
Don't make me hate you.
Margaret hands her boarding pass to the attendant and breezes through. The attendant gives Richard a look.
Bring her home to meet my folks. Yeah.
Tangled in the bags, Richard struggles to find his boarding pass, and the impatient attendant is getting frustrated.
I've got it here. Sorry. Guess I'm a little flustered too. Haven't been home for a while. Hopefully they like her.
The gate attendant smiles.
I don't care, sir.
Richard finds his boarding pass and hands it over.
Okay, then, you're a sweet lady. Thanks.
Richard hustles to the plane as they shut the doors. Interior plane to Alaska day. Margaret takes her seat and sits next to a well-dressed, handsome man who is reading a book. She notices the title and he catches her stare. Margaret explains.
I'm sorry, I hate it when people stare at what I'm reading. It's just, I worked on that book.
You wrote it.
I edited it. It was one of my favorites.
You did a good job. It's great.
You don't see many guys with that book. You read a lot of love stories about Roman concubines?
My ex-girlfriend gave it to me. I travel a lot for work. I'll read anything.
Ex-girlfriend, huh?
Okay, you got me. I'm a closet romantic. Let's keep that between us.
Margaret smiles and makes the "my lips are sealed" motion. Just then, Richard lumbers onto the plane with the bags.
There you are. Give me my laptop.
Richard untangles the bags and gives Margaret her computer bag.
Hey, he's reading.
I know, Richard.
Richard turns around and puts the bags in the overhead compartment. The handsome man turns to Margaret.
Did you two want to sit together?
Sit together with who?
Handsome man nods at Richard.
Your boyfriend.
Margaret points to Richard indignantly.
You mean him?
The handsome man nods. Margaret tries to set the record straight.
No. He's my assistant.
You're bringing your assistant all the way to Alaska.
Richard smiles, happy that Margaret has to answer.
Oh, you can tell him the truth.
Well, he's indispensable.
The handsome man isn't buying it.
And gay. Takes care of me everywhere I go. I call him my queen mother. Aren't you my indispensable queen mother?
Margaret shoots Richard a nasty look. He has to go along.
That's me.
Richard turns to close the overhead compartment.
You're awful nice to fly in first class.
Margaret nods her head and agrees. It sucks to be Richard. Exterior. Why? You got called the gay queen mother. I live for it. Anyway, Margaret nods her head and agrees. Whatever. Anyway, exterior aerial of Sitka day. We see the natural beauty of southeastern Alaska. Sitka is an island the size of Maui, where only an 8-mile stretch of coast is inhabited and the rest is complete wilderness. At the center of the island is a mountain with smaller hills around it. The coast is dotted with fishing boats. Gorgeous. Interior jetway day. Margaret and the handsome man chat like old friends while they walk off the plane. Richard follows along with all the bags. As they all walk out of the jetway, they see Interior Airport Day continuous. A big banner that reads, "Congratulations, Richard and Margaret!" with wedding bells and a graphic showing the journey from New York to Sitka. The banner is being held up by a group of 30 people with excited looks on their faces. Richard's mom, Debbie, 60, is front and center. She's a sweet lady who cooked Richard a hot breakfast every morning until he left the house. Grandma Annie, 89, also waits. She's lived a long time and doesn't have a lot of time to screw around. When they see Richard, they scream. Margaret's face drops.
There he is! Where's Margaret?
Richard blanches white. Margaret looks back with eyes that say, "What the hell is going on?"
That's sweet.
Richard goes over to the group. Margaret keeps walking.
What are you guys doing here? What's with the sign?
So you're just dating, huh? I can't believe you didn't tell us.
Didn't tell you what?
We're not saying anything until you let us meet Margaret. Now, where's our girl?
Richard looks around. Margaret keeps her head down and tries to avoid eye contact.
Margaret, you need to come over here. Like, now, honey.
The handsome man sees Richard with the banner people calling for Margaret to come over.
I have to go now.
What kind of sick shit is this?
Margaret nods. This would be a tough one to explain.
Have a great life.
Margaret walks towards the group. Richard puts out his hand and silently pleads for Margaret to hold it. At the last second, she takes it.
Everyone, this is Margaret.
It's so nice to meet you. Now, do you prefer being called Margaret or the Dragon Lady? We've heard it both ways.
Annie.
Why, it's not like he hasn't told her that he used to call her the Dragon Lady. They're getting married.
No, where did you hear that? The whole getting married thing.
Oh, that man from the government, Gilbert something. He said he was checking up on you two. Said it was a technicality just because Margaret was from Canada.
What did you tell him?
Well, for one thing, that you were in a lot of trouble for not telling us that you two were getting married.
No, really. What did he say?
Just that you were coming up here this weekend, that we hadn't seen you in a while, and that we'd heard about Margaret for years, but that we'd never met her.
Debbie turns to Margaret and takes both of her hands.
The way that Richard talked about you, I'll admit, didn't see this coming.
Me neither.
Debbie picks up some of the bags and starts walking towards the exit. Everyone else follows her lead. On the move.
So why all the silly secrecy?
It wasn't a secret. We just didn't tell anyone.
Well, is your family just anyone?
No, I didn't mean.
I should be mad at you two, but I'm just so excited.
Is everyone coming to our hotel?
Oh, we canceled your reservation. You're part of the family now. Family doesn't stay at a hotel. Also, we've got another little surprise for you two.
Surprise? Another surprise?
Oh, she's not good with surprises.
I'm really not good with surprises.
Exterior Sitka Airport day. Continuous. Debbie stops. Sitka Airport is very small, so they are already outside by all the cars parked in the loading zone. Debbie and Annie excitedly look at each other.
Well, you two.
You're getting married this
We're getting married this weekend.
What?
The whole kit and caboodle.
Margaret gives both these women a look that says, "What are you talking about?"
Well, when Gilbert something or other told us that you were getting married
without any of the dead relatives around.
God rest their souls.
Or friends.
We decided to give you a wedding.
Engagement party tonight.
And wedding tomorrow at midnight.
Debbie and Annie wait to see what Margaret thinks.
Which is
just quaint. During the solstice is good luck. It's an Alaskan thing.
We planned everything.
Margaret isn't sold, so Grandma Annie goes in for the clincher.
I'm old, Margaret. I don't have much time left. Richard lives so far away, I never see him. Now I find out he's getting married. I have a chance to see my one grandchild's wedding day. It's a dream come true for me. A dream come true. Please, let me see Richard get married before I die. Please.
Long beat. Richard doesn't know what Margaret is going to say. Margaret doesn't know what Margaret is going to say. Finally, she goes to speak, but can only get out 2 big thumbs up. And the crowd cheers! Exterior Sitka day. Woo! A procession of cars makes its way through town. Interior pickup day. Debbie and Grandma sit in the front of the truck, all smiles. Margaret and Richard sit as far away from each other as possible in the backseat of the extended cab. Margaret tries to get Richard's attention, but he's looking out the window. Finally, she pinches him and Richard jumps. He gives Margaret a, "What the hell did you do that for?" look.
The Dragon Lady.
It was Satan's mistress.
Satan's mistress.
To tell you the truth, we had a lot of the plans made already for my birthday. Just a few changes here and there, and we made this weekend a wedding.
Margaret stares at Richard.
I'm a lucky woman.
Margaret does her best to smile. Exterior dock day. The cars park in a lot in the middle of nowhere near a small dock. Everyone gets out of the cars and starts walking to the ocean. Margaret is confused.
I'm not getting out of this car until you tell me where we're going.
Come on, it'll be okay. I promise.
Richard points to a small island about a mile away. Exterior yacht day. Everyone rides on a 75-foot yacht. Lots of polished wood and chrome. Someone passes out beers on board, and the mood is festive. Margaret takes a look around at the surreal scene.
Who are you people?
Richard lets Margaret wonder. Exterior Paxton Dock day. The ship docks, and we get our first glimpse of the Paxton estate. It sits above the rest of the wooded island and is as tasteful as a 15-bedroom Alaskan mansion can be. Richard's father, Joffrey, 60, waits on the dock. He is a bear of a man.
So you must be Margaret. We've heard a lot about you. All of it bad.
Margaret tentatively walks off the yacht in her none too practical slingbacks.
I mean, I will shit myself when I heard he was marrying the devil woman.
Thought it was the dragon lady.
Yeah, either way.
Mistress.
Hey, Dad.
Whatever works. Hey,
Richard shakes his father's hand. It's a little stiff.
welcome home. Good to see you.
You too.
Been a while.
Yeah, you'd think you could make it to the airport to mark the occasion.
Grandma Annie interrupts.
Help him with the bags, Joffrey. Let's get you two settled.
As Richard and Margaret move towards the house, Annie shoots Joffrey a look that says, "Be nice." Interior Paxton Estate day. The house is decked out in chic Alaskan decor. Somehow, it makes bear heads and deer antlers look good. Everything is first class. Margaret is a little awestruck.
We'll show you around later.
Uh-huh.
Out of nowhere, a small, husky puppy jumps out. Dang it, where's the damn dog filter? Whatever. All right, I tried. Yup! And Margaret jumps on Margaret, startles her, jumps and scares the shit out of her.
Balzac! Down! No!
Barf. Debbie pulls the dog off of Margaret and pushes him toward the kitchen. Margaret tries to take it in stride and make small talk.
What a great game. Balzac's Lost Illusions is one of my favorite book. Not game, sorry.
Oh, well, this Balzac's got epididymitis.
Debbie makes the two big circles with her pointer finger to illustrate how Balzac really got his name. Not understanding, Margaret looks over at Balzac as he walks away. Off her shocked reaction, we understand right away that this puppy husky is an anatomic marvel.
No one on the island wanted him when he was born. We figured he deserved a home.
Don't let him outside or the Eagles will just snatch him.
Come on, Dad.
I mean it. They come out of the rehabilitation center mean. Hungry.
Don't listen to Margaret.
Should listen to him, Margaret. Interior Paxton Estate upstairs day. Debbie opens a door for Richard and Margaret.
You'll be sleeping here.
Interior Margaret's room day continuous. The room is beautiful, right out of an Architectural Digest.
Bathroom is there, and all the towels are in the armoire by the bed. Just let me know if you need anything else.
Thank you. And where's Richard's room?
Oh, we took down his shrine years ago, and don't worry, I'm under no illusion that you two haven't slept in the same bed before. Richard can sleep here too.
Oh, let's not upset Grandma Annie.
It was her idea. Anything to help her get a great grandchild.
Richard shrugs behind his mother.
Great. I've gotten used to his breathing at night.
I thought so, dear.
Debbie leaves and shuts the door. Margaret reverts back to her old self.
I'm about 15 seconds from bitch.
Calm down.
What is going on here?
Hell will find hole?
You had no idea they knew about us getting married?
You think I'd bring you here if I did?
We just gotta tell them.
What?
Tell them the truth about us.
Wrong answer. No way.
What do you mean, no way? This is crazy.
No, crazy was lying to the federal officer.
I don't like this.
No, I'm not making my gammy an accomplice to a classy felony. For 1 second, could you not be so selfish?
Selfish?
Yeah, you know that thing you do where you only worry about yourself every second of every day?
How is it selfish to tell the truth?
Look, we're awful people. In the last 48 hours, we've lied to everyone. We need to protect the people downstairs. We can't ask these good, decent, not awful people to lie for us. Let's keep the dark side to ourselves.
Margaret takes a second to make up her mind.
Fine, but if we do this, you need to stop lying to me.
What have I lied to you about?
Why did you tell me you were poor?
I never said that.
Well, you never told me you were rich.
When does that come up?
Oh, I don't know. How about between, hi, my name is Richard. I'm an Alaskan titan of the industry.
Well, maybe I didn't tell you because you would have fired me if you knew.
I wouldn't.
Come on! Come on! You've always yammering on about your scrappy childhood and how you fought for those soccer scholarships and how the rich kids made fun of you in prep school for working in the kitchen. You're totally anti-rich.
I'm not anti-rich.
Yes, you are! And you know what makes it worse? You have money!
I earned
Every penny I have. Blah, 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 blah. You need new material.
Hey, watch it. You're still my assistant.
You're going to promote me anyway.
Sure of that?
Nope, not at all.
Margaret takes a look at herself in the mirror.
Well, come on. If we're going to do this, might as well put on a show.
Interior Paxton Estate Day. Downstairs, the engagement party is in full swing. The starched wait staff stands out in the crowd because the raucous partygoers are all dressed in flannel, t-shirts, and baseball hats. Ponytails rule for the women, and almost all the men here have shaggy hair and beards. No dress code here. Like the house, the party is first class. Ice sculptures melt, champagne is served on silver trays, and the buffet overflows with salmon and king crab. Margaret works the crowd like a pro and holds court with some well-wishers, Richard's parent, and Balzac.
I went to Union College in upstate New York. It's a small liberal arts school that no one has ever heard of.
Richard comes to the group and hands Margaret a drink.
Lime?
I'll be right back.
Richard leaves to fetch lime wedges. Joffrey elbows Debbie in the side. What was that?
How long have you been with your company?
Since I graduated college.
Richard comes back with the lime. Margaret takes it and doesn't say thank you.
She's been there since she was 19.
19. Wow. That's how long?
Oh, who's counting?
Joffrey could let it go, but he wants to push her.
No. How many years is that? Exactly.
Margaret gives Joffrey the slightest look.
Let me see. That would be 16 or 17 years. Exactly.
I was never good with the big numbers. That makes you 36 now?
Just turned 37, born on May 20th. I'm a Taurus.
Joffrey and Margaret give each other a smile.
I need some protein.
There's some salmon.
Margaret shakes her head. Nope.
Crab?
Margaret nods yes. Richard steps away to find a waiter. Joffrey watches his son do Margaret's bidding.
Keep him on a short leash, huh? Does he roll over when you whistle?
Debbie hits Joffrey.
What's that, Deb?
He's just being a good host.
Richard comes right back with the waiter in tow. For Joffrey's benefit, Margaret makes a point to thank Richard.
Thank you, honey. You're being so sweet.
Richard is surprised, but remembers that they're a couple.
Ah, sure, honey.
Oh, you just got some big promotion.
Oh, I'm editor-in-chief now.
Richard tenderly puts his arm around Margaret.
I'm so proud of my girl.
From behind them, a melodic, ethereal voice interrupts.
Editor-in-chief, you're marrying up, Richard.
Everyone looks around to find Gertrude Thurman, 26. She is Grace Kelly in Patagonia and Timberland. Oh. Adding insult to injury, she doesn't have eyeliner on.
Gert?
Richard snaps his arm back, hitting Margaret in the head and spilling her tonic water on her shirt. He doesn't notice what he's done and leaves Margaret. She's peeved.
What are you? What are you doing here?
Your dad made me come.
From Chicago?
Grace Kelly is rolling over in her grave right now. Gertrude laughs. The group watches these two see each other for the first time in years. There is an instant chemistry, and Richard has forgotten about Margaret completely.
Now I live here now.
You what?
I moved back about 6 months ago. I'm teaching second grade at Barnoff.
Did your husband move up here too?
No. I got divorced.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. But hey, we're being rude. I want to meet the bride.
Gertrude leaves Richard and goes to Margaret.
Hi. I'm Gertrude, but call me Gert.
You're Gertrude?
A family name from hell.
I'm sure it's been a curse.
And Gert and Richard were quite the item in high school.
Gertrude instantly dismisses Joffrey's reminiscence.
Oh, please, ancient history.
Yeah, it feels like yesterday to me.
So, tell me everything. I hear it wasn't exactly love at first sight.
Not exactly.
Now, Richard, what I want to know is how you proposed.
This grabs the group's full attention. Everyone loves to hear a story like this.
Well,
Richard hasn't recovered from seeing Gertrude.
Yeah, how did you pop the question?
Richard is a deer in the headlights. This is getting ugly. Margaret sees that Richard is going to crumble and steps in.
Can I tell this one, honey?
sure.
I'm an early riser and I go for a run every day. Well, it was our 6-month anniversary and I was out for my normal jog in the park when who do I see in a horse-drawn carriage wearing a tux and waiting for me halfway through my run? Richard. Oh. So I ran up to the little carriage and I asked him what was going on, and he put his finger to his lips and said, shh. So there I am in my jogging clothes next to the most handsome mute in the world. And if you've seen him in a tux riding like a sweaty princess riding like a sweaty princess and smiling ear to ear. A couple minutes later, we arrive at Tavern on the Green. And the best part, we're only people in the place because Richard had got them to open up early. Well, we go to our table and sit down, and it's just as the sun starts to peak above the trees, this beautiful man gets down on one knee and says, I didn't want one more sunrise to go by without you knowing that you are the light of my life. And that I would be the luckiest man in the world if you would be my wife. Margaret Mary Mills, will you marry me?
The group is silent, waiting for the clincher.
And I said yes.
The group gives a collective, aww. Grandma Annie takes both Margaret and Richard by the hand.
You're a good boy, Richard, and you make me very proud. I love you, Richie.
I love you too, Grandma.
Grandma hugs the couple. Everyone smiles except Joffrey and Gertrude.
So did this happen before or after the INS agent came sniffing around?
What is wrong with you? I'm sorry, Margaret.
Margaret doesn't miss a beat.
Oh, please. I wonder too. Honestly, my lawyers have been dealing with all of this. When you told us at the airport it was the first time I had heard about it, I'm so embarrassed. Really.
Don't be, dear. Jeffrey's just an ass.
While Debbie apologizes, Margaret gives Richard a little wink that says, I've got this under control. The moment is interrupted when Richard pulls out a ringing cell phone. He takes a step back and answers quietly so no one can hear.
Margaret Mills phone. 1 second, please.
Richard comes back to the group and hands Margaret the phone.
It's our friend Frank.
Richard's tone lets Margaret know that there's a problem.
Excuse me, I'll just be 1 second.
Margaret takes the phone and exits out the French glass doors that lead to the backyard. She leaves the door open and doesn't notice Balzac follow her outside. Exterior Paxton backyard day continuous. Margaret goes far from the house so no one can hear. Balzac follows her all the way, but Margaret doesn't see him.
Don't be a cliche, Frank. Don't be the wishy-washy writer who changes his mind every 2 seconds.
Margaret notices Balzac, but ignores him. The dog starts yapping to get attention. She walks away, but Balzac continues barking. Annoyed, she gets down face to face with the puppy and puts the phone against her chest so Frank doesn't hear.
Sit and be quiet.
Balzac sits and pouts. Margaret walks away and puts the phone back to her ear.
I fired Bob because he didn't have your best interest in mind. Our job is to help you succeed. He wasn't doing that.
Margaret continues to listen to her writer whine when she notices an eagle soaring in circles above her and Balzac. She's not sure what to think. She looks back at Balzac and sees him peacefully sitting in the grass. She then looks up and sees that the eagle is gone. Margaret shakes her head and looks back at Balzac when whoosh! The eagle snatches Balzac up by the scruff of his neck and takes off. Margaret jumps. There's no one to help, so she chases after the dog and the eagle. She stays calm on the phone.
Could you hold on just 1 second?
With no other option, Margaret throws her cell phone and hits the eagle suspended 20 feet above her. The eagle drops Balzac, and Margaret catches him. Balzac looks frightened.
Oof, ouch. Oof.
Tucking Balzac away like a furry football, she runs to her phone and picks it up.
Frank, I don't want to sell you anything, but I know this. This book is your legacy.
Margaret looks up and sees the eagle dive towards her and Balzac again. She runs!
And I think you should be the one to introduce your legacy to the world. Call me tomorrow with your decision. My phone is always on. Talk to you soon.
The eagle bears down on them with talons out. Just as the eagle is about to strike, Margaret sticks out her hand with the phone to fend back the eagle. To her surprise, the eagle grabs Margaret's phone and flies off. Margaret freaks.
Give me back my phone! Give me back my phone! Here!
Panic, she takes Balzac in both hands and puts him up to the eagle as an offering.
Take the dog! Take the dog!
The interior Paxton estate. Inside, the elegant party carries on. Yep.
Mommy?
Where's Margaret? We need to go.
Go where?
It's a surprise. The girls are going into town and the boys stay here. I told you, we've planned everything.
She's outside.
Debbie and Richard turn around and look at a picture window. They see a Margaret running with Balzac above her head.
Oh, that's so sweet. She's playing with my Balzac.
Phrasing! Exterior Paxton backyard day. The eagle is long gone, but Margaret is still running with the dog trying to bait it back.
This is a delicious dog, Mr. Eagle. Come on, bring back the phone.
Richard calls out from the house.
What are you doing?
The eagle took my phone.
Are you drunk?
Your dad was right. The eagle tried to take the dog, so I saved it. Then it came back and took my phone.
Did the dingo eat your baby too?
Frank's going to call me on the phone. I need it.
Relax. I've got your information backed up on the laptop. I've just got to get you a new phone and switch the number. No problem.
Oh.
Come on. You're going somewhere with my mom and the girls.
I'm not going anywhere.
You want a new phone? You're going.
Yes, you do. Oh, Starbucks, so many treats. Exterior Pioneer Bar day. The Pioneer Bar is a classic Alaskan bar, decorated with pictures of every fishing vessel that has made Sitka its home. But tonight, estrogen rules, as all the patrons are women cheering for an oiled tone and bearded man in a tiny thong who gyrates to the beat of Prince's sexy motherfucker. On stage with the dancer, Margaret tries not to look miserable in her novelty bachelorette party wedding veil with devil horns. Ha!
Work it, Hank.
Is that a salmon down your pants?
What? Choices! The room laughs as Hank works his crotch millimeters away from Margaret's face. Margaret remains straight-faced.
Definitely not the salmon.
The women encourage Hank on as he moves Margaret's hand to his wiggling ass and gives her a feel. She can't help but give an embarrassed smile. Finally, the song ends and Hank goes into the splits. Thrilled, the room gives him a standing ovation. Margaret plays along and gives Hank a kiss on the cheek. She begins to get off the stage, but Hank takes her by the hand.
I was just the warm-up.
Hank sits Margaret down and blindfolds her with a scarf.
Oh, what's going on?
Just sit there, dear.
Don't be shy, ladies. Step on off and show Ramon how much you appreciate his assets. Come on now. Oh, now it's Ramon.
Double dancers. The room goes silent as a middle-aged Ramon comes onto the stage. Oh god, he has a pot-belly, threadbare thong, and a thin mustache. Ramon's dance has a Latin theme to it, and he's very good at it. Margaret is oblivious.
What's that smell?
Margaret finally takes off her blindfold and finds Ramon about an inch away from her face.
Ah!
Margaret falls out of her chair, and her scream frightens Ramon. After the initial scare, he composes himself and wags his finger at her naughty behavior.
You are a naughty devil.
Ramon goes to work on another part of the stage, and when he turns, Margaret jumps off the stage and joins the ladies.
Oh, good lord.
Ramon was the only male dancer on the island for years. No one has the heart to tell him to hang it up.
Hold on. Did I give some? Have we not been recording that?
So,
Want me to do it?
Thank you, dear, but let's keep it our secret.
Exterior Paxton Estate, shoreline day. Snow-capped mountains watch 20 men in short sleeves hit golf balls into the ocean. Green pontoon rafts bob in the water, made up to look like golf greens. Golf balls are stacked in pyramid formations at every hitting area. Richard comes down from the house to join the group. Joffrey jokes with Mr. McGuire, 60s, good-natured as they hit balls.
yeah, Debbie found these eco balls that dissolve in the water.
How does she come up with this shit?
I don't know. She just does. Stop trying to figure out how.
Joffrey and Mr. McGuire see Richard coming their way. Mr. McGuire yells at Richard like the old family friend he is.
I'm mad at you, son.
Why is that, Mr. McGuire?
You fly up here and don't call me?
Sorry about that.
What good is me owning an airline if I can't give you free tickets?
You're right. Don't know what I was thinking.
Damn straight. Don't let it happen again. Here, you take over. This game is for pussies. I'm getting a drink.
Mr. McGuire leaves and Richard and Joffrey are left alone with one another for the first time. Things are awkward between father and son, and Richard begins hitting balls to avoid conversation. Joffrey finally makes small talk.
Well, McGuire's stepping down in January. He's handing things over to Maddie.
Richard gives his dad a look. He knows where this is going.
Oh, that's great for them.
So, how's work with you?
Good. Busy, you know?
I do. Hey, did I tell you that we're opening a little office in Japan?
Congratulations.
Not just a mom and pop operation anymore. We're going global.
Uh-huh.
Joffrey stops hitting golf balls for a second. He's been thinking about this moment for a long time.
could really use your help.
Dad, please. I'm in New York. Margaret's in New York. We have jobs.
I know. It's just
what?
you're only a secretary.
This pisses Richard off immediately.
Again with the secretary thing. I've told you, I'm an assistant.
Just because you call yourself an assistant doesn't mean you're not really just a secretary.
Well, if I'm just secretary, why would you want me here anyway? Sounds like you're doing great without me.
It's not like that, and you know it.
Then how is it? Explain it to me.
Joffrey looks around to see if anyone's listening.
Last week, a man stuck his finger up my butt.
This man was a doctor?
It got me thinking about you.
Oh, I'm not sure this is coming out right.
Will you just shut up for a second, okay? Look, I want you to have what I built, and I'm not running out of time, and I'm running out of time to show you things.
Stop being so dramatic.
I'm not being... I need you to stop dicking around down there and get serious.
So this is all about what you want.
It's not what I said.
And me in New York with Margaret. That isn't serious?
One day the woman is the Antichrist. The next day she's the love of your life. How is that serious?
Things change, Dad.
Things change?
Things change.
Things change.
Yes, things change.
Things change. That's your explanation. You know what I think? I think you banged your boss and you fell in love. That's what I think. Some sort of mommy complex.
Nice, Dad. We gotta have these Cosby moments more often. This is great.
Do we want more Cosby moments? Richard drops his club and walks back to the house. Exterior Pioneer Bar day. Margaret steps outside to have a moment to herself. She's on a patio overlooking the ocean. It is late, but the sun is hanging just over the horizon.
They can be a little overwhelming, but they're great, the people.
Why are you talking weird? What? I'm just working on my tan. It's been a long day.
Margaret looks inside and sees that the party is still raging.
Around the Solstice, they don't watch the clock. Pretty much party
Solstice!
Yeah, that too. They don't watch the clock. Pretty much party till they fall over.
Great.
I actually missed... Me too. I actually missed it when I was in the States.
Chicago, right?
Yeah, since college.
Now you're back?
6 months now. Call me crazy, but I love it. I think I'm back for good.
Really? I don't know. You don't miss...
Neiman, Starbucks, escalators.
Jesus, Margaret laughs. She likes this woman.
Yeah, I miss it. Believe me, growing up, I never thought I'd end up divorced and back here teaching at my old elementary school. That was always Richard's plan.
For you to get divorced?
No, I was going to teach. He was going to run his dad's business. He was like a little man. Had it all worked out.
Are we talking about the same guy?
What do you mean?
Well, Richard's such a player.
Gertrude looks confused.
I mean, he was a total player before we started dating 6 months ago.
I mean, he was, it's my line, bitch. I mean, he was a total player before we started dating 6 months ago.
I'm so sorry I repeated it. The Chicago weather is killing me.
That surprises you?
Did he ever tell you why we broke up?
You do sound like an alien. We don't really talk much about stuff like that.
Oh, well, I should shut up.
Yeah, please. No, please. I mean, we are getting married. I want to know these things.
Gertrude looks down a little embarrassed.
He proposed to me when we were seniors.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. He proposed to you in high school?
He bought this sweet little ring and it got down on his knee. It was so cute.
You must have...
Freaked out? Oh, you bet. I broke up with him on the spot.
I would hope so.
After getting rejected the first time, I can't imagine how hard it was for him to get up the courage to ask you.
Margaret just smiles, feeling guilty about lying when Gertrude is being so honest with her.
Anyway, the idea that my little old man could be a player, it's just not the Richard I knew. Good thing you're making an honest man of him again.
Gertrude toasts Margaret and knocks back the rest of her beer in one swig. She has a hard time finishing it off.
Well, I'm empty. I'm going to go get another. I think I hear Ramon wrapping up. Let's get back to the girls. Hey!
Be right in.
Margaret smiles and turns to the ocean. Gertrude goes inside. Then, to herself, Margaret silently whispers,
We are awful people.
Exterior Paxton Estate day. Thwack! An axe slams down and splits a log in two. Hands quickly place another log down and thwack! We pull back to find Richard playing the role of executioner. He's still mad after talking to his dad and is taking it out on the firewood. Damn, I wish they used this for the movie. Rage Against the Machine plays on his iPod and he's in his own world. Behind him, the girls return to the island on the family yacht. Their mood is light and they chat amongst themselves. Debbie's mood deflates when she sees Richard.
Richard? Honey? Is everything okay?
With his back to the girls and the iPod on, Richard doesn't hear or see the girls. Annie shakes her head. Something is up. Interior Paxton Estate family room day. Joffrey pets Balzac as he watches Sports Center on a 60-inch plasma television. The ladies arrive and Annie and Debbie step in front of the TV, blocking his view. Margaret watches from the door, not sure what's going on.
Excuse me, I'm watching that.
Why is Richard chopping wood?
And don't play dumb. What did you do?
Joffrey is uncomfortable answering in front of Margaret.
Nothing. I didn't do anything. Will you please move?
The showdown intensifies. Margaret excuses herself.
I'm so tired.
Balzac growls when he hears Margaret's voice. He's still mad. Margaret just smiles.
I'm gonna go take a shower and clean off Ramon's bubblegum body oil. Thanks for the great night.
Annie and Debbie smile graciously and wish her good night. Once she's gone, they turn their death stare back to Joffrey. He looks genuinely unnerved.
Stop looking at me like that.
Stop being an asshole. Exterior Paxton Estate day. Richard continues to listen to his iPod and has worked up quite a sweat. Oof. He stacks the last log, takes off his soaked-through shirt, and gets a whiff of himself. Ugh, he stinks. Interior Margaret's room day. Margaret walks into the private bathroom attached to her room and shuts the door. We hear her turn on the shower. Interior Paxton Estate family room day. Joffrey defends himself to Debbie and Annie with great conviction. Richard walks right by the fighting trio, but doesn't notice anyone. He continues to listen to his iPod, and his attention is focused on the controls as he looks for the playlist Songs I Shouldn't Like, and Charlene's hit I've Been to Paradise, but I Haven't Been to Me. Interior Margaret's room day in the bathroom. Margaret turns off the shower, pulls back the curtain, and reaches for a towel. All she finds is a miniature, unabsorbent, decorative hand towel. Shit. In the bedroom, Richard finally enters the room and smiling as Charlene sings, I've been undressed by kings and I've seen some things that a woman ain't supposed to, I'm guessing. In the bathroom, Margaret's ears perk up. The bathroom is a disaster because she has dripped water everywhere looking for a towel.
Richard, is that you?
In the bedroom, Richard opens the armoire next to the bed and pulls out an incredibly absorbent Egyptian cotton towel. In the bathroom, Margaret cracks the door open to see what the sound was. Richard isn't there, but she sees the armoire open and the towels waiting for her. How did she miss that?
Richard, are you?
Then out of nowhere, Balzac! He followed Richard in, startles Margaret. Yap, 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 yap. Anyway, Margaret slips on the wet floor and falls on her ass. Her foot kicks the door open as she retreats from the vengeful puppy. On the bedroom's deck, Richard is oblivious as he hangs his wet clothes over a rail on the deck attached to the room. He makes sure that no one is in the yard, pulls down his shorts, and hangs them up as well. In the bathroom, naked, wet, and starting to get a little pissed off, Margaret manages to pull herself up by the toilet. She wants a towel badly, but Balzac guards the doorway. She tries reason.
I'm sorry about the eagle, but I saved you.
Balzac won't listen to reason and he barks angrily. Yap, yap! Margaret grabs the ceramic top of the toilet tank to protect herself. On the bedroom deck, Richard calmly turns around and sees that the bathroom door is open. That's weird. In the bathroom, Margaret holds up the top of the toilet tank like a baseball bat. Ready to strike, Balzac will not be intimidated and continues to growl and not let her out of the bathroom. And then Margaret knows she can't hit a dog and looks for another way out. Then she spots the bathroom mat. In the bedroom, Richard saunters toward the bathroom wearing only his iPod. In the bathroom, Balzac puts a paw onto the bath mat. Margaret slowly pulls back the toilet top. Balzac gets into the center of the bath mat, and then Margaret pulls hard, sliding the bath mat and Balzac to the back of the bathroom. With Balzac out of the way, she runs out, closes the door behind her, and in the bedroom, wham! Margaret crashes into Richard and they fall to the floor. It takes a second for them to realize that they're both holding each other buck-ass naked. The two quickly separate and spastically try to cover up. A rapid-fire back and forth ensues.
Not the baby maker. Why are you naked?
What?
Who did to me?
Oh,
It was the dog. Would you just hand me a towel?
Richard looks for a towel but forgets he's naked. When he looks under the bed, Margaret shrieks and covers her eyes.
Your flashy brain!
Richard quickly changes positions. Out of desperation, he pulls the entire comforter off the bed. He throws it Margaret's way and she wraps herself in it.
You can cover up at any time.
Richard cups the beans and franks and backs up his clothes by the window.
Explain yourself.
I didn't know you were home. I was outside chopping wood.
You didn't hear me.
I had my iPod on. Why'd you jump me?
Richard reaches his clothes and pulls on his shorts.
I didn't jump you. I mean, I didn't mean to jump you. I didn't know you were here.
You didn't see me?
I was running from the dog. He's vicious.
Okay, then.
Richard looks at Margaret suspiciously.
Wait. Are you trying to seduce me?
Oh, please, don't flatter yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Go take a shower, you stink.
Fine. But don't come sneaking in there. You're still my boss. It'd be sexual harassment.
Richard goes to the bathroom and shuts the door. Margaret takes a breath but is startled when the door suddenly opens back up again. Richard has Balzac cradled in his arms and scratches his neck. He gently puts them outside their room.
There you go, buddy. Go on and play before she makes a coat out of you, Cruella.
Richard shuts the door and goes into the bathroom. Without looking back, Richard gets the final shot.
Puppy hater.
Later, Richard grabs all the pillows, cushions, and blankets he can find to create himself a makeshift bed on the floor. Margaret turns out the lights, leaving the room still bright with the sun still shining outside. She gets into her bed.
I'm never gonna get to sleep.
Richard pushes a button and motorized metal blinds come down outside the window. The sunlight is instantly blocked out and the room is pitch black.
Oh, well, thanks.
Richard settles into his pathetic excuse for a bed. The two silently lie awake and stare at the dark ceiling.
It was kind of weird seeing you naked.
Can we not talk about this?
Just saying. It was weird.
It was weird.
How was that not weird?
Because we're like teammates.
We're like teammates.
We are teammates. And teammates see each other naked in the locker room all the time. It's not a big deal.
Wow. If we're teammates, can I sleep in the bed?
Good night, Richard.
The two lay awake in silence for another beat.
Margaret,
Yes.
don't take this the wrong way.
Okay.
You're a very beautiful woman.
Margaret smiles with her head turned away from Richard.
Get some sleep. Richard, big day tomorrow.
Interior Paxton Estate. Office day! Not a creature is stirring except for Joffrey, who creeps into his office. He shuts the door softly and goes to his gigantic oak desk. He finds a phone number with a New York City area code on a piece of paper. He dials.
Yeah, Mr. Gilbertson. My name is Joffrey Paxter.
Only the animal trophies that adorn Joffrey's office hear the rest of the conversation. Interior Margaret's room day. Margaret wakes up. She looks over to Richard asleep on the floor with a blanket and a pillow. She stares maybe a beat too long before there is a knock on the door.
Who is it?
It's me, dear. I made you two breakfast in bed. Can I come in?
Oh, sure, just a second.
Margaret can't yell at Richard, so she throws a model wooden sailboat to wake him up. She hits him in the head.
Mother!
Richard jumps up and replaces cushions and hides signs of his makeshift bed. He finishes quickly, hops into the bed, and puts his arm around Margaret.
Come on in, Mom.
Debbie enters with a tray of pastries, fruit, and coffee.
Oh, Mom, you made cinnamon rolls.
Well, it's your special day.
Debbie smiles, puts down the tray on a bedside table, and sits on the edge of the bed. She is buzzing with excitement.
You two need your energy, so eat up. We've got your dress fitting, we have to get the house ready, and then your wedding.
First, I gotta run to town to get Margaret a new phone.
Will you pick up some champagne while you're there?
No problem.
And don't be gone for too long. Lots of work to be done.
Oh, you don't really have to go through all this trouble. Really.
Debbie
Ow.
sweetly looks back at Margaret.
Don't be silly. This is the biggest day of your life. And you're coming into this family. And when it's family, it's no trouble. If your parents are with us, they would do the exact same.
Debbie leaves and Margaret smiles as the door closes. Richard jumps out of bed and goes to the food.
Your mom is just so sweet. I haven't had someone make me breakfast in bed since I was a little kid.
Richard takes a huge bite of cinnamon roll.
I wish we had she almost caught us. Yeah, but whoa.
Like a pig in shit, Richard continues to dig in or doesn't pay attention to Margaret.
You just take all of this for granted. Your family, this house.
Richard takes another big bite and turns to Margaret.
I'm sorry, what? I'm going crazy.
Way too good at that. Margaret looks at Richard with disgust.
Why are you doing this to them?
Huh?
Why am I here? You didn't have to bring me here.
You made me bring you here. You told me that I had to, or I wouldn't be editor.
I didn't make you do anything. You could have said no.
And what? Start over at the bottom again? No way.
I get why a not rich person would do this, but you've got everything. It doesn't make any sense.
No what? This is none of your business.
I wish it wasn't my business, but unfortunately it has become my business because I made a deal with someone I thought I could trust.
Richard stares at Margaret for a beat. He's exasperated.
You want to know why you're here? I'll show you why you're here.
Fine.
We'll leave in a half hour.
You ready in 20 minutes?
Margaret angrily takes a bite of a cinnamon roll and slams it down on the plate. She goes to her suitcase and looks for clothes. A beat passes and she comes back to the rolls.
These are really good.
She takes a cinnamon roll and leaves. Exterior woods day. Margaret is riding a bicycle through the woods, muttering to herself.
Everything's gonna be just fine. Okay, it's a little rough. I can do this. Oh my god. Oh my god. Nature. I hate it.
The trail she's on starts heading downhill.
Not stopping. Why are you not stopping?
Margaret tries to regain control of the bike. It stops and she takes out her frustration on it.
Stop it. I just wanted some air.
The sounds of a low, rhythmic thumping can be heard off in the distance. Margaret's interest gets piqued, looks around for the source of the noise, apprehensive.
What is that? What now? What is that? What is that?
Margaret nears a clearing, and now we hear chanting.
Look at this.
Recording in progress.
What is that?
In the clearing ahead, there is a person in native dress, arms open wide towards the wilderness. A large bonfire is going, and the drumming is played from a boombox. The chanting continues.
Come to me, Margaret of New York. It is I, Grandma Annie. I see you are a curious one. See how I give thanks to Mother Earth.
Actually, I'm just not that really curious. I'll just,
Look around you. Mother Earth has provided all this. Just as she brought you and Andrew together to be joined, we must give thanks and ask that your loins be abundantly fertile. Come, dance with me in celebration.
Can I just, thank her from here?
I insist!
Grandma Annie throws something onto the fire to make it sprout up and roar. Margaret is a little intimidated by this.
Okay, I'll come down and dance with you.
Follow and learn. I don't know that song, so.
Recording in progress.
Ya. Come on, Margaret. Feel the rhythm of the drums. Now you.
Me what?
Chant.
Chant what?
Whatever comes to you. It is the way.
I don't know any chants.
To the trees. Use your vowels. E, ooh, ooh. E, ooh, E. Yes, chant.
Ooh, ooh.
Yes.
To the trees. To the universe. To the universe. To the universe. To the crazy. To the window. To the wall. To the sweat drip down my balls. All you bitches.
Louder!
To the window. To the walls. To the window. To the walls. To the sweat drip down my balls. Now all you bitches crawl. All skeet skeet mother. All skeet skeet goddamn. To the window. To the walls. To the sweat drip down my balls. To all you bitches crawl. All skeet skeet motherfucker. All skeet skeet motherfucker.
Cut to Richard walking in the woods and is curious to what he hears.
All skeet skeet goddamn. To the window. To the walls.
Richard is at the clearing watching this odd event unfold before his eyes. Margaret singing balls and dancing around a bonfire with Grandma Annie.
To the wall, to the wall, to the strap trip down my balls. All you bitches go. Gabby, let's take it to the bridge. Let me see you get low, you scared, you drop your ass to the floor, you scared. Let me get low, you scared, drop your ass to the floor, you scared. You see you get low, you scared. Your butt to the floor, you scared. Now stop. Woo, just wiggle with it. Now stop. Woo, just wiggle with it. Just stop. Woo, just wiggle with it.
What you doing?
Just wiggle with it. Chant from the hearts.
False. That's what came from your heart.
You know what, you went with the beat?
Your phone arrived. I'm gonna go to town. Wanna come?
Oh, yes, I wanna go. Hold on. Is it okay if I go with him?
Whatever you do is what it shall be.
But you're okay if I go.
Fine, go on.
Bye, Gammy.
You're a freak!
Richard is laughing at her.
Shut up, would you please?
Margaret smacks him with her scarf. It's a scarf. Get over it. Exterior Paxton Dock Day. Richard and Margaret board the yacht. They wear athletic clothes and running shoes. Exterior Boat Day. Richard drives the yacht and Margaret sits by herself. Exterior Paxton Seafoods Pier Day. Richard docks the boat at the Paxton Seafood Pier. Located in the town's harbor, the packing plant consists of 3 large warehouses and buzzes with activity. Fishing boats line the pier, unload their fish, and forklifts take the fish to be processed. Everything is clean and organized. Richard and Margaret walk down the pier. He points to the seals that swim everywhere and eat fish scraps. Damn, they're cute. Richard waves hello to workers. An elderly Filipino man, Beck, yells to them as he walks into a warehouse.
Hey, Richard! That the lucky lady.
Yes, sir, it is.
You look much younger than everyone says.
It's great to hear.
See you on the line, Beck.
Interior locker room day. Richard opens a locker and points. We don't see it what?
Put this on. I'll meet you outside.
But I don't.
Put it on.
Exterior locker room day. Margaret opens the door with a sour look on her face. She's wearing large green hip waders with suspenders, rubber fishing boots, and gloves.
Is this really necessary?
You'll thank me later.
Richard walks towards the warehouse. Margaret follows in her fantastic outfit. Interior slime line day. Inside one of the brightly lit warehouses, workers at different stations process the fish that come off the boats. At the top of the line, Beck is handcuffed to the head decapitator machine. He happily feeds whole salmon into a guillotine where the heads are chopped off. He awkwardly waves when he sees Margaret and Richard.
Why is he handcuffed to the machine?
So his hands don't go too far. So he doesn't.
Richard makes a chopping motion. Margaret winces.
Nice.
From the decapitator, fish are fed into the gut puller where their bellies are slit and the intestines are pulled out. Thank God I'm not eating right now.
I shouldn't be here. I was a vegetarian for 6 months in college.
Richard leads Margaret to the end of the slime line where a long line of 20 workers give the fish a final cleaning before they are frozen. With great speed, they take the fish from the gut puller and line and clean out all the leftover intestines.
There he is. Big city boy come to show us how it's done.
It's been a while.
Come on, show her how we do it.
Okay.
Richard and Margaret go to the end of the line. Richard expertly demonstrates with a knife.
You grab a fish, but be gentle, because you don't want to bruise it. Open her up, tilt the knife, and then you pull the grain of fish. 2 quick strokes to clear the organs attached to the spine.
Margaret looks nauseous. Richard enjoys her discomfort.
And then we use the tip of the knife to squeeze the blood out of the vein and then send her down the line.
Richard cuts another fish with precision and speed before offering a knife to Margaret.
Want to try it?
Margaret doesn't say anything. All the other workers watch.
It's too gross for you.
Give me that.
That look, though. Up to the challenge, she takes the knife and grabs a fish. Margaret puts the knife in and keeps as much distance as possible between her and the salmon.
Did this for 5 summers. Dad wanted me to earn my stripes before I took over.
Is that why you're still pissed at him?
Nah, I loved it here.
You love this?
Slime on? Hell no. Nobody loves the slime line. I love this place. The people growing up running this place was all I wanted.
Margaret scrapes a huge glop of guts out of a fish.
You wanted this?
I wanted to run this place. I'm just comfortable here. Was what I know. Don't forget the spine.
Was I gonna forget?
Margaret squeezes the blood out of the vein, sends the fish on its way, and grabs another fish with more confidence.
Then things changed. And wasn't so comfortable anymore.
What kind of things changed?
Stuff.
You mean like Gertrude?
Yeah.
Richard stops. He can tell Margaret knows something.
Oh my God. She told you, didn't she?
Told me what?
Richard is embarrassed. He turns away.
About the. No.
The creepy teenage proposal.
Ah, shit.
You were a freak, by the way.
Get it all out.
And she was right to break up with you.
You done?
Margaret nods yes.
I know now that it was the right thing, but it screwed me up for a while.
For a little while? Don't sell yourself short.
Well, when Garrett crushed my heart into little pieces, life up here didn't seem so great anymore.
So you moved to the open arms of New York City?
At first, it was getting as far away from this place as possible. But then I fell in love with it.
With scheduling my Pilates?
Editing. See, as an only kid, I always read a lot, but until I worked for you, I didn't love it. I mean, when I realized we could find the next cuckoo's nest, or Catch 22, or
To Kill a Mockingbird, it's all about To Kill a Mockingbird.
exactly. We could find the next To Kill a Mockingbird. God damn, how great is that?
Margaret smiles. She never knew that Richard had this kind of passion for the job.
So I tell my folks that I want to spend my life finding books. My dad goes ape shit. How dare you forsake your family? You'll come crawling back to us. You're nothing without our help. I left that night and we didn't talk for a year. Haven't been back ever since.
So we're getting married so you can give Daddy the finger?
No,
Margaret gives Richard a disbelieving look.
sorta. Okay, yes. Coming back here with you and get the promotion. I get to show off. You're editor in chief. You make a good prop.
I guess that's a compliment.
So now you know I'm a petty asshole. Am I trustworthy again?
Oh yeah, we're good. By the way, you're more screwed up than I am, Paxton.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, one more question.
Yes, everyone at work thinks you're a lesbian. What?
That wasn't my question.
I know, just flashing out.
Margaret smiles.
Can we stop getting fish? I need my phone.
Interior Sitka General Store day. Richard and Margaret enter the well-appointed general store filled with food, booze, and electronics. A mini Walmart.
Hey, Ramon.
Hey, Richard. Hola, te amo.
Margaret recognizes Ramon, the male dancer from last night.
Hey.
Oh my god, I just looked up! Sorry, they walk a few steps before Margaret can say a word.
You know him?
He was my shop teacher.
Of course he was. How many people are on this island?
They start to fill their cart with cases of champagne.
Like 8,000. Depends on the time of year.
No smaller.
With the cart full, they head to the checkout.
You got the phone I called about?
Charged up, ready to go, number changed.
Ramon throws Richard a phone.
Thanks, Ramon.
No problem.
Ramon gives Margaret a flirty wave. She awkwardly waves back. Richard pushes the cart out the front door and does not pay. Margaret is confused. Exterior Sitka General Store day continuous. Richard keeps pushing the cart. Margaret catches up.
Why is Ramon letting you steal his stuff?
It's our stuff.
Richard points to the Paxton General Store sign.
That must have been handy in high school.
You have no idea.
Should you leave the cart?
It's our cart. I didn't know you were such a prude.
I've come to realize that being my assistant gave you more access to my life than I ever imagined, but there are a few things you don't know about me.
I doubt it. When I started, you were still wearing those Ugg boot things.
I never told you about that.
I'm just saying it's been a long time. I know it all.
Margaret turns on her new phone. It searches for a signal.
Did you know I took disco lessons in the 6th grade?
Where?
The Y.
Margaret 1, Richard 0.
My first concert was Kool and the Gang.
At Woodstock?
I won tickets on the radio and saw them at the fair.
What are they singing again?
You know, shake, 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 shake your booty, shake your booty, shake, 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 shake your booty, shake your booty.
I just wanted to make you keep going. Richard shakes his head.
Well, they were good.
Well, they were good.
Yeah. You had a lot of soul back there. You had a lot of soul there, Canada.
I really like the OC. Not fake. Haha, isn't funny like this trash. Like, I really, really like it.
I'm getting a shut out here.
Allergic to pine nuts.
Knew that.
Afraid of penguins.
Oh,
I haven't slept with a man in a year and a half.
holy shit! You are a lesbian.
A mother walking by with her 7-year-old gives Richard a very nasty look.
My bad.
The mother walks on. Margaret is mortified and walks faster.
Okay, Cool in the Gang gets nothing, but that gets a holy shit. I've been busy.
It's a really long time.
Okay, that hurts coming from Mr. Magic Bands.
I knew it had been slow going, but I figured there was a booty call in there somewhere.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm not good at that.
I find that hard to believe.
No, not that. I'm great at that. Ace, top notch.
I'll have to take your word for it.
Yes, you will.
How exactly do you define top notch?
Margaret is smiling as she listens to a message on her phone. In an instant, she's all business.
I need a computer and the internet now.
Interior Fisherman's Net Internet Cafe Day. Designed to attract tourists, the Fisherman's Net is awash in bad nautical props and fishing gear. A bored teenage clerk in a pirate outfit greets Margaret and Richard.
Aye, lassie, welcome to the cyber seats. Our T1 line is faster than a clipper ship in a hurricane. But for now, ye be needing to scroll your mark on this sign-up sheet,
Margaret looks and sees that all the computers are taken.
No. I need it now. I've got a Booker Prize winning author demanding he needs an email in the next 45 minutes explaining why he should stay with a publishing house that makes him do publicity.
The pirate looks at Margaret like she's speaking Chinese.
Listen to me, asshole.
The pirate looks around to make sure his boss can't hear.
Look, lady, you gonna put your name down on the list or not?
Margaret is about to throttle the pirate, me too, when Richard pulls her back.
Not another one. Arr. Come on, I got an idea.
Richard leads Margaret to the door. As they are leaving, Margaret shouts out,
I didn't know there were a lot of pirates in Alaska.
Interior Baranoff Elementary School office day. Margaret sits at a computer, furiously opening her email. Richard has brought her to his elementary school where he and his old principal, Mrs. Whiting, are standing over Margaret.
I'm so excited about the wedding.
Yeah, thanks for letting us use your computer.
No problem. So, what flowers are you going with?
Margaret turns around annoyed, but manages to keep her cool.
I'm sorry, but can we have a minute alone? I really need to speak to Richard.
Oh, sure.
Show me around, will you, Mr. Whiting? It's been years.
Mrs. Interior Baranoff Elementary School all day. Richard and Mrs. Whiting. Okay, I was right. I thought I got it wrong. Anyway, walk around the elementary school.
Mrs. Whiting has a cold. Do you think she'll be long? I've got work to do.
She'll be out of there in 2 shakes.
Out of the corner of his eye, Richard catches Gertrude teaching a class of second graders. He stops, transfixed.
We are so lucky to have her. Mr. Megger really left us short-handed when he ran off in the middle of the school year. He's living out in the forest now with his wolves, full time.
Richard hasn't heard anything that Mrs. Whiting has said. He's hypnotized by Gertrude. She looks happy teaching these kids, and they hang on her every word.
Will you excuse me? The bell is about to ring. I need to get ready for recess.
Sure.
Mrs. Whiting leaves. Richard goes up to the door, and Gertrude sees him. Good Lord, can that woman smile? She waves him in. Inside the classroom, the kids all turn to see Richard when he opens the door.
Class, this is my old friend Richard.
Hi, Richard!
Richard and I used to be in this very same classroom together. We even had your old teacher, Mrs. Megger.
Mister.
Mister!
Oh, Mr. Megger. I couldn't tell at the time.
The class giggles.
That's not a nice thing to say, Patrick.
The bell rings. One girl gets up. Gertrude eyeballs her.
Marcia?
Marcia!
Marcia?
Sorry.
Barely know you either.
I hate you. The child sits back down. Gertrude waits a beat.
Okay, everyone is excused for recess.
Oh, thank God. All the kids pop up and head to the door. Mrs. Whiting directs traffic outside. Richard makes his way to Gertrude.
Patrick's right. He did smell like eggs.
It's still not a nice thing to say. And actually, Mr. Megger smelled like wet dog and Metanuska Thunderfuck. The fuck's that? But let's keep that between us, and especially me.
It was a type of weed. Anyway, in Interior Baranoff Elementary School office day. That's why the pot thing was there. Margaret reads over her email to Frank.
You, my word as an editor and a friend.
The door opens suddenly and Margaret shouts.
5 more minutes, please.
Margaret turns to find a pigtailed girl in the doorway, terrified. She shrieks and runs off. Margaret wants to apologize, but needs to keep working.
Sorry.
Interior Baranoff Elementary School classroom day. Gertrude and Richard wipe down the chalkboards together. They are very comfortable together and have an easy rapport.
Remember Mr. Megger made us do this after school for a week?
That was your fault.
It was not.
You tried to kiss me. A girl has to defend herself. Mm-hmm.
Come on. I had a shot and I took it in danger zone.
Gertrude rolls her eyes. She's heard this 100 times.
Oh, Goose, no Top Gun, please.
What? You loved my Top Gun.
No, you loved your Top Gun. I just smiled and laughed like a good girlfriend. Hee.
That's right. Ice Man. I am dangerous.
Richard clicks his teeth together, trying to mimic Tom Cruise. Gertrude is not impressed.
Really? Stop.
That cuts deep. I'll have you know that my Tom Cruise is as good as my Hugh Jackman.
Talk of Margaret immediately shuts Gertrude down.
Is there something wrong?
No, nothing's wrong.
It's been a while. It's still been a while, and I can still tell when something's wrong with you.
Gertrude doesn't want to say anything.
Well, what is it? I hate it when you get all quiet.
I wish there was a better way to say this.
Better way to say what?
I made a huge mistake. With you. Breaking up with you. I'm sorry.
Are you apologizing for high school?
Yes, that's how low my life is. Yes.
Oh, thank God. I thought it was like something big.
This is something big.
Big what? I could have used this about 5 years ago, but I'm all good now, promise. Thank you for saying that, though.
Gertrude sees that Richard isn't getting her point. She pulls herself together.
I think I want you back.
Oh, God, he's making me say it again. I want you back like we should be together all the time. Oh, wait, that's you. Sorry. My God.
It's all good. This love thing is. Oh God, he's making me say it too. I want you back. Like we should be together all the time.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Please rewind, like the last 5 minutes.
I know this isn't the best time to bring this up.
My wedding day isn't the best time for you to bring up the idea of us dating.
Richard's reaction stings and Gertrude begins to well up. Bringing this up is very hard for her.
I'm not talking about dating. You should move back here. We have the life you always talked about in high school. I'm ready for that now.
Oh, why are you doing this?
I know that the timing here sucks, but we are meant to be together. I know it. I think you know it too.
Travis, never ever do that again. No, I don't. I don't know it.
Jesus. Ugh. I'm sorry. Richard begins to pace, not sure what to say. Every time he opens his mouth, he can't find the words. Then, from the door, an interruption.
Hey guys.
Holy shit. Did Margaret hear anything? Her face gives nothing away. Gertrude and Richard act like nothing just happened, but they look guilty as hell.
Oh, hey, Margaret.
Are you all done? Like, seriously?
Yeah, we'll see what he says. You ready to get back to the house?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Well, let's go. See you at the wedding, Gertrude.
Gertrude just smiles.
Yeah, see you at the wedding.
Oh, fuck off, Gert.
Exterior Paxton Dock Day. Richard and Margaret unload champagne. Richard is still thinking about Gertrude and wanting to be alone.
So what did you and Gertrude talk about?
Richard lies.
Nothing about her school, the kids and stuff. Apparently, my second grade teacher was a pothead.
That was it? I was gone for a while.
Yeah, that was it. I can do this. You should really go try on the dress for my mom.
Oh, I was gonna go for a run first. It's been 3 days since I got out. I'm feeling kind of crazy.
Whatever.
Margaret isn't accustomed to Richard talking to her this way, but she doesn't push it. Exterior Paxton. Interior Paxton master bedroom day. Debbie and Annie wait outside a bathroom door in a massive master bedroom. They talk to Margaret through the door.
I'm so excited. Aren't you excited?
This was my dress from 1929. My mother made it by hand. Amazing how things come back into style. How does it fit?
Margaret speaks through the door.
Just buttoning up here.
Drum roll!
Grandma and Debbie enthusiastically make drum roll sounds. Margaret opens the door and smiles. She's unsure of herself, but looks fantastic. The dress fits great, except...
Your boobs are bigger than mine ever were.
Yeah, it's a little snug.
Come over here.
Debbie leads Margaret to a mirror. Grandma Annie follows.
Lovely dress.
Debbie looks at Margaret and spontaneously begins crying.
Oh, you're so beautiful. And such a great match for my Richard. I know I've just met you, but a mother can tell. When he looks at you, I can tell he's in love. I'm so happy I get to share your day.
Debbie, please. We've got work to do.
You're right.
Debbie collects herself, then starts crying again.
You go down and work downstairs. I'll finish this.
Debbie tries to calm down, but can't.
Go.
Debbie nods in agreement, smiling from ear to ear. She leaves in tears. Margaret and Annie watch her go.
Had to get rid of her before I gave you this. I don't think she would have recovered.
Grandma Annie comes from behind and puts her arms around Margaret's neck. When she is done, a stunning blue necklace lays on Margaret's neck.
You needed something blue. It's silly, but I didn't want to take any chances, and we wouldn't have wanted to dye your hair.
It's beautiful.
It's hematite. Alaska diamonds. The blue ones like this are very rare. My great-grandfather gave it to my great-grandmother when they were married. They were quite a scandal, you know. He was Russian and she was Tlingit. Back then, you had to get approval from every person in the tribe before you got married. Almost broke them up.
How'd they stay together?
Don't know, but I'm sure happy they did, or none of us would be here if they hadn't.
Grandma and Margaret admire the necklace in the mirror.
I want you to have it.
This is awful news for Margaret. She might as well be stealing from Annie.
No, I can't really.
I don't want to hear it. It's yours. Grandmothers like to give their stuff away to their grandchildren. Makes us feel like we'll always be a part of your life, even after we're gone. Take it.
Margaret puts her hand to the necklace and for the first time feels like a complete and total fraud.
Are you feeling all right, dear?
Margaret doesn't speak. Annie patiently waits for her reply.
Well, the thing is...
Margaret deliberates, spilling her guts to Annie, but can't.
It's dressed just a little tight.
Oh, don't worry about that. We've got these seams by the arms. This will be easy.
Annie marks up the dress with Taylor's chalk.
We can fix this, no problem.
Margaret smiles but knows that Annie couldn't be more wrong. Exterior Paxton Estate Day. Richard helps workers build a stage for the band. He's still in a foul mood when Margaret interrupts in a panic.
We need to talk.
I'm a little busy.
Well, I'm freaking out. I need to get away from here, from everyone. Now.
We'll go for another run.
No, I did that. It did not help.
I'm a little tired of you making demands and me just jumping.
We're not going to need any of this if I don't get out of here.
Okay, high maintenance. Let's go.
Exterior Paxton Speedboat Day. Unlike the bulky yacht, this boat is built for speed and maneuverability. Richard starts her up.
Move over, I'm driving.
Margaret cuts in front of Richard and grabs the wheel.
You don't know where we're going.
Margaret opens up the throttle and they are off.
It doesn't matter.
On the open ocean, Margaret and Richard leave everyone behind and take off for the horizon. As they jet up the coast away from civilization, the green trees, blue water, and wildlife, bears, puffins, moose that inhabit the coastline have a calming effect on both of them. In Alaska, it doesn't take long to leave humanity behind. Eventually, the boat travels through a channel with steep mountain walls on either side. Although it is still warm out, an icy beach can be seen straight ahead.
Where are we?
The North Pole. Congratulations, we made it. The glacier, Tracy's arm. You better let me take it from here.
Fine.
Okay. So like me, you've navigated a lot of glacier fields and not died?
Margaret reluctantly moves aside and lets Richard steer.
Oh, lady, you've got issues.
Yeah, I'm a control freak. Fine.
Doesn't stop there.
Oh, this coming from the sociopath?
Oh, please.
I'd never bring me here.
You drove.
I mean to Alaska.
Are you kidding me?
Richard pulls next to the glacier and turns off the engine.
You're sick doing this to them.
I explained to you.
They love you. Do you get that?
Of course.
And you're still wanting to lie to them.
Like you didn't know?
You know what?
That we were going to lie to them.
I didn't know.
Well, that makes you either stupid or ignorant.
You think I'm stupid?
No, but what's behind door number 2?
I forgot, okay? I forgot.
Forgot what?
Forgot what it was like.
What was like?
To have a family. I forgot what it was like to have a family. I've been on my own since I was 13, and I forgot what it was to have people like that love you and make you breakfast and give you necklaces.
Suddenly, Margaret has a hard time speaking and is short of breath. She goes to the side of the speedboat.
Gonna take a walk.
We need to head back.
Alone. I need alone time.
What?
I'm about to lose my shit big time. I need a second.
But
Stop right there.
Richard puts up his hands in surrender and stays put.
Going to be over there, away from you. Just sit down, turn around, and just act like you're not here.
Richard goes to speak, but Margaret motions for him to sit down and turn around. He does. Margaret gets off the boat and walks away from him on the glacier. On the glacier, Margaret tries diaphragmatic breathing to calm down.
you can do this. You can do this a couple more hours. Oh my God, you can do this. You'll never see these people again eventually. Write a letter, apologize, send the necklace back.
Margaret!
No talking!
Watch your step, okay? It can be dangerous.
Again, you're not supposed to be.
Margaret doesn't finish her sentence. On the boat, Richard sits with his back turned to Margaret, waiting for her reply. He doesn't hear anything. That's weird.
Margaret?
Richard turns around and looks for Margaret. He doesn't see her. He gets out of the boat and goes onto the glacier, walking in the direction he last saw Margaret.
Margaret?
He
I
takes
know I'm
one-
breaking the rules here, but where are you?
Sorry. He takes one more step before he hears.
Richard, help!
Richard still can't see her, but runs in the direction of her voice. He soon rounds a mound of ice and sees that Margaret's been swallowed by the ice. Her upper torso sticks out of the glacier, held up by her arms. Her eyes are wide and she's almost hyperventilating. It's a bizarre sight.
Thank God.
Richard tries to control himself, but bursts out laughing. Margaret is really scared.
Why are you laughing?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll get you out of there. You've broken through an ice bridge. Have a seat. No, Becky.
Don't do that!
I'm doing what?
The thing in the doctors do in the ER when they tell the gunshot victim who's bleeding to death that they're going to be okay. Don't do that!
I'm not like that, really. We do need to be careful here, though. I don't want us both to fall in. Stay still, okay?
Huh?
Richard is 10 feet away from Margaret now. He's checking the ice to see if it's stable. He slowly walks her way.
So I'm going to walk up to you very slowly and pull you out, okay?
I'm really cold.
Yeah, that's normal when you're surrounded by ice.
Okay.
Richard stands over a stuck Margaret, whose head just comes up to his knee. He calmly looks down on her.
Okay, so I'm going to pull you up by your armpits. I'm probably going to touch boob, but don't freak out.
Margaret shakes her head yes. Richard reaches down and slowly lifts her out of the ice. Margaret doesn't say a word.
All right, I'm going to get you all the way out. I need you to hold on to me. I'm going to carry you over there.
Margaret nods yes as she puts her arms around Richard. He's strong, so it isn't difficult for him to slowly carry her over the threshold style, away from the hole in the ice. He speaks once they're safe.
I've never done that before.
You said it was no biggie.
Well, yeah, you okay?
Yeah, fine.
Richard smiles. Margaret smiles back. Richard walks away very comfortably with her in his arms. She fits just right. Margaret looks up to Richard gratefully.
You shouldn't have laughed at me.
You wouldn't have laughed at me.
Yeah. Well, I was getting my camera.
The two stare at each other for a beat. There's a real spark. They might kiss.
Gertrude wants me back.
Whoa! Not what she was expecting. She looks down.
And?
Well, it seems like you were having second thoughts.
Yeah, I was.
Maybe we should do it. Come clean.
Me down.
Richard puts Margaret down near the boat. She tries to regain her composure.
You want to call it off?
You do.
Fine, it's over. We'll tell him when we get back.
Aww. On the boat, Margaret sits hunched over with a blanket wrapped around her. Richard drives the boat. They don't talk. Exterior Paxton Estate day. Richard and Margaret walk towards the house, which looms above them as they prepare to deliver the news that they aren't getting married. The front door opens and Joffrey comes outside in a hurry. He's clearly been waiting.
Come with me.
Where's Mom, Dad? We all need to
Not
talk.
now. Not now. Come on.
Richard and Margaret look at each other, not sure what to do. Joffrey storms off and they follow. Exterior Paxton Guest House, day. Richard, Margaret, and Joffrey arrive at the door to the guest house. Joffrey stops before they go in.
I haven't told your mother about any of this. I don't plan to. It's really beginning to like you. Sorry about this.
Joffrey opens the door and goes inside. Inside the guest house has been converted into a squash court. In the middle of the court, a man patiently sits on a metal folding chair. It's Gilbertson. He smiles.
Hey there, kids. Good to see you.
What did you do?
Joffrey doesn't answer. He's not proud of himself.
What did you do, Dad?
Called him yesterday. He told me that you were lying and that he was going to catch you. That he was going to send you to prison.
We made a deal, and Dad here flew me up. Now, you tell the truth and get off scot-free. It's like it never happened to you.
You made a deal with him on my behalf?
You were making a mistake.
That's none of your business.
It's fine.
The hell it is. It is not fine.
Oh, quack, quack, quack. Just tell me what really happened and I'll be on my way. No one gets hurt. We all get what we want.
Margaret takes Richard's hand.
Okay, tell him.
You do not get to make this decision. This is my decision. The truth is, I've been working for Margaret for 3 years. 6 months ago, we started dating. I recently asked her to marry me, and she said yes. See you both at the wedding.
What are you doing, Richard?
Come on. We got to get ready.
Yeah! Margaret and Richard storm out of the squash court. Exterior Paxton Estate day continuous. The couple walks briskly to the house.
What was I thinking? They act like they're nice, but really, they're evil.
He's only doing it because he loves you.
Are you defending him? Are you defending the King Dick?
Just stop. Think about this.
Oh, I thought about it. And know what I think? I think you saved my life. Thank you, Margaret. Getting married to you is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Without this, I might have ended up back here.
Up at the house, Debbie opens the door.
There you are. You two almost gave me a heart attack. Come on in. Get dressed.
Coming, Mom. Time to sack up.
Richard winks and goes inside. Margaret follows, not sure. The wedding montage. Chairs are set up outside. Guests arrive via boat. Richard stands on the deck wearing his tuxedo. Gertrude arrives for the wedding and they lock eyes. Richard waves hello and mouths, sorry. He goes back inside. Joffrey sits in his bedroom and watches TV. He's not dressed for the wedding yet. Debbie shakes her head at him in the mirror as she puts on her earrings. Gilbertson eats every hors d'oeuvre that's offered to him. Interior Margaret's room day. Grandma knocks on the door and comes inside. We see Margaret from head to toe. The dress, veil, and flowers look amazing.
If I were one to brag, I'd say that dress is perfect.
Matches the shoes.
Margaret pulls up the dress to reveal running sneakers.
Those will be your best friend. Wedding shoes stink. You ready?
Exterior Paxton Estate day. With the ocean in the background, 200 guests sit in white chairs. Richard stands under a gazebo and smiles at his mother in the front row. He ignores Joffrey. Gertrude sits nearby next to Gilbertson. From the gazebo, Richard nods at a group of cello players who begin playing from downloaded sheet music that reads, "Cool in the game. Cherish." Let's turn with the start of the music to see Annie walk Margaret down the aisle. When Margaret recognizes this song, she smiles.
I didn't know the song earlier, so I didn't sing it. Nice song.
Sorry. Richard shrugs his shoulders.
Is that your song, dear?
I guess so.
Margaret and Annie stop at the end of the aisle. Looking up, Margaret sees the Justice of the Peace, Ramon. Yes, the same guy from the liquor store and the strip club.
Sweet Ramon.
Margaret gives Annie a kiss and then turns to Richard. They whisper while they walk up to Ramon.
You look gorgeous.
Disgusting.
It's what you dreamed of when you were a little girl.
Oh, you bet.
They make it to the gazebo where Ramon awaits.
Ramon?
Amor. We are gathered here today to celebrate one of life's greatest moments, to give recognition to the beauty, honesty, and unselfish ways
Uh-oh. Margaret looks at Richard on the word unselfish, but he's looking straight ahead, determined to get through this.
of Richard and Margaret's true love.
Uh-oh. True love gets Margaret as well, although no one in the audience notices.
Before their family and friends.
Family and friends gets a reaction out of Gertrude and Joffrey. She purses her lips. He holds on to his chair in order to keep himself seated.
For it is the family and friends who taught Richard and Margaret to love. So it is only right that family and friends all celebrate that love here today. And if there is anyone who has cause why this couple should not be united in marriage and love, they must speak now or forever hold their peace.
Gilbertson stays quiet. Joffrey takes a tug from a flask. Ramon is about to continue, but something gets his attention. He's not sure what to do.
Te amo, do you have a question?
We reveal that Margaret has her hand halfway up, eyes squinted shut like the new kid in class, not sure of herself.
No.
Then why is your hand up?
I have something to say. It's not a question, though.
Can it wait, till after?
No.
Margaret gathers herself and turns around to the crowd. They stare back, unsure of what to make of this foreigner.
Hey there, folks. Thanks for coming out. I've got a little announcement to make about the wedding.
This.
Margaret smiles and squeezes Richard's hand.
Not sure the best way to tell you all this, but I made Richard marry me. It's all sham.
Gilbertson victoriously pumps his fist in the air.
I was going to get kicked out of the country, so I told Richard that I would destroy his career if he didn't marry me.
Now, wait.
Richard, please let me finish. Richard wanted to stop this when we got off the plane, but I wouldn't let him. Don't blame him. This is all my fault. Could you get the band started and give these people something to drink, and you meet me at the dinghy in 10, you're taking me to the airport. You, Mr. Gilbertson, you're taking me to the airport.
You got it.
Margaret nods, hands Richard the bouquet, and confidently walks back up the aisle with all eyes on her. She stops when she gets to Gertrude and leans down.
Take care of him.
Promise.
Margaret walks back into the house, alone. Interior Margaret's room day. Margaret's wedding dress is laid out on the bed. Her bag is packed. Richard knocks and comes in. Margaret is on the phone.
Yeah, that's great, Frank. Good news. Talk to you Monday.
Margaret hangs up.
So Frank's back in?
Margaret nods distractedly. Getting Frank to do the publicity tour doesn't really mean much right now.
Yep, he's in for now.
Maybe this will be your mockingbird.
Yeah, right.
Margaret starts collecting her bags.
Great exit back there.
Oh, thanks. Fun weekend.
Yeah, same old around here.
Wasn't sure if your mom would want me to strip the sheets, so I just left them.
I'll let her know. Why did you tell them all that?
Margaret,
It was getting
sorry.
too messy. We weren't going to be able to keep it up.
Oh, don't start lying to me now.
Margaret stops for a moment.
I heard you and Gertrude at the school. I think she meant what she said. She's a great girl. You should stay. It's the right thing. You are perfect for each other.
What about you? What are you going to do?
Margaret wants to keep the conversation short.
Don't worry about me. I'll survive.
So what? This is it?
Yep. This is it.
Margaret walks to the door but stops. She turns to Richard. Despite her best effort to act cold, she can't help herself.
Have an amazing life, okay? You're a good person. You deserve it.
She puts out her hand and Richard shakes it. It's electric, but Margaret denies it.
Goodbye, Richard.
Exterior Paxton Estate day. Margaret walks down to the dock carrying her suitcase. She can hear that the party is in full swing and smiles. Exterior boat day. Gilbertson drives his little speedboat and Margaret holds her suitcase tight. It's choppy and the outboard motor is loud. The two have to yell to talk.
I want you to say the words.
Not doing great in the dignity department. Can we not do this right now?
Say it.
Margaret closes her eyes, hating that it's come to this.
I'll publish your book.
Gilbertson smiles.
Was that so hard?
Whoop, I zoomed in. There we go. Exterior Paxton Estate day. Richard sits by himself and finishes a beer by the shore. Gertrude walks up to him, looking fabulous, with 2 more beers.
So here's the deal. I'm going to have a million questions for you tomorrow.
Gertrude sits down next to Richard.
But for now, I thought we'd just sit here and drink a beer, okay?
Richard nods. Gertrude hands him a beer.
Thanks.
Richard thanks her with a kiss on the cheek. Then, realizing where and who he is with, he puts his beer down. He turns to Gertrude again with a determined look, gives her a kiss on the lips, then follows it up with an even bigger kiss. When they finish, Gertrude is grinning, like a vault, eyes closed. Richard looks worried. Something is wrong.
You've been practicing.
What do you mean?
Well, Margaret told me that you turned into a bit of a man whore down there.
Richard looks down, a bit ashamed. Gertrude makes light.
You're going to have to put that in check if you move back, because me and Beth Cable are the only 2 real options up here, and I'll kick that bitch's ass.
Richard gives her a polite smile. He's not really in the mood to joke, Gertrude notices.
So, no jokes yet? Too soon?
Sorry, just a little confused.
That kiss didn't seem confused.
Richard takes a beat to collect himself.
You're amazing, Blake. I mean, Gert. And I've thought about being with you for a long time. When you said those things at school, I decided about hearing you say those. I've dreamed about hearing you say those things. But as crazy as this seems, I know now that we're just not meant to be.
Gertrude pulls back like she's been punched.
Thing is, when I said goodbye to Margaret, I felt sick. For the 3 years we worked together, I wanted to be as far from her as possible. But now that she's gone, I'm just really sad. I want her with me. What is that?
The question hangs in the air.
Don't know.
I think I have to find out.
Find out what?
If she feels the same way.
Gertrude begins to tear up, but she won't let herself cry.
Well, okay then. What's a girl gonna do? I guess you want who you want.
Gertrude gives a melancholy smile.
I'm so sorry, but I gotta go.
Richard gets up.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Really, go.
Gertrude nods her approval and Richard runs off to the party. Exterior Paxton Estate party day. Debbie, Joffrey, and Annie sit at a table next to the bar. Dumbstruck looks on their faces. Ramon mixes drinks and flips bottles. Come on, flair bartender. Richard runs up to them all looking excited.
What are you so goddamn happy about?
What? Well, I'm gonna go see Margaret.
What?
She violated you. You should report her.
We can report her to, Mom.
Oh my God. He's got Stockholm syndrome.
I don't have Stockholm syndrome, and she didn't violate me.
What is going on, Richard?
Richard slows down and explains to his mom.
I'm sorry I lied to you. That was an awful thing to do, but I took this weekend for me to see how funny and screwed up and perfect Margaret is for me. I think she's the one.
But you already thought she was the one.
No, I didn't. Not until she left.
Really? Does she think that too?
I don't know. I got to get to the airport to find out.
Debbie doesn't say anything, then breaks into a smile.
He's going to stop her from leaving at the airport.
But I gotta hurry. Her plane leaves any second. I might not make it.
He's not sure if he's going to make it.
Are you buying this horse shit?
Oh, Jeffrey.
I don't have any time to explain this to you.
Well, then make some goddamn time, because I won't let you throw your life away for some woman.
I don't care.
Excuse me?
I don't care. I love you and want you to understand, but I'm not asking your permission here. I'm doing this.
Oh, really?
From behind them, Annie stands up and shouts.
Wait, stop it, stop it, stop it.
But suddenly, a look of panic flashes across Annie's face. She grabs the table to steady herself, but pulls the tablecloth, causing a loud crash. Joffrey and Richard run over.
Mom, are you okay?
I need to go to the hospital fast.
Interior plane day. Margaret and Gilbertson board the jet together. Margaret finds her seat in first class and discovers the handsome man from the flight before sitting nearby.
Is this another gay assistant?
Margaret doesn't say anything and takes her seat. Exterior Paxton Estate day. 2 Coast Guardsmen carry Annie on a gurney to their waiting helicopter. Joffrey, Richard, and Debbie follow behind. They all pile into a large chopper and fly off. Interior Coast Guard helicopter day continuous. An oxygen mask covers Annie's face. Joffrey holds her hand. Annie motions for Joffrey to come closer, and he leans down. Joffrey sits up and shouts over the helicopter noise.
Richard! She has something she wants to say to us.
Richard leans down and joins Joffrey and Annie. Their 3 heads are very close together. Annie speaks to them both through the oxygen mask.
Listen to me. You two need to stop fighting. You'll never see eye to eye but your family. If this doesn't stop, one day you'll regret it. Promise me you'll stand by Richard even if you don't agree with him.
I promise.
And Richard, promise you'll work harder to be a part of this family.
I promise, Grandma.
Okay then.
Annie closes her eyes. She looks peaceful. A moment passes. Then suddenly Annie takes off her mask, sits up, and yells to the pilot.
I'm feeling much better. I don't need to go to the hospital. Take us to the airport, please.
Richard and Joffrey are confused, stunned even.
What is going on?
Did you fake a heart attack?
We didn't have time for your squabbling, and I knew a helicopter would be the quickest way to the airport. Seemed like the best way.
Way?
And remember, you two promised me that you're going to get along. I wasn't kidding about that.
Ma'am, I'm not authorized to take you to the airport.
Larry Ferris, don't make me call your mother.
Interior plane day. Gilbertson talks nonstop. Margaret is in hell.
I want my book launch to be special. I'm thinking we throw a soiree at the Nevsky Monastery in St. Petersburg.
Margaret stares at him blankly.
Where, oh God.
Dostoevsky.
Dostoevsky is buried. Thank you. Hello? I thought you were a professional.
Margaret closes her eyes to numb the pain. Exterior Sitka Airport day. The helicopter lands and Richard jumps out. His family follows as they run to the control tower. Interior Airport Tower day. Chuck has an easy job. Jets fly into Sitka, but there are only about 6 flights a day. He is half awake as he radios Margaret's flight. Reggae music plays in the background.
Flight 1601, you're clear for takeoff.
Roger that, Chuck.
The phone rings in the tower. Chuck picks up, intercut as necessary, with Richard running on a cell phone.
Tower, talk to me.
Hey, Chuck, it's Richard.
Hey, man, heard about your lady, Balin Dragola.
I need you to do me solid, brother. I got to see my girl, and she's on that flight. Could you stop it for me?
No can do, bro. Need a good reason for the FAA holes. Lose my job if I delivered that favor. Wow, that is so me.
No. Come on. No. Oh, no.
What's wrong?
Margaret's on that plane.
And he didn't get to tell her.
Tell her what?
That he loves her.
So she could tell him that she loves him too.
But how does she...
If she didn't love him, she wouldn't have left.
Of course not.
Is everyone not getting this?
Jeff.
Chuck, Look down!
Oh, yes, thank you. Look down like, oh, there you are. Sorry, man, there was nothing I could do.
Thanks, Chuck. For nothing.
Seriously. Richard hangs up the phone, dejected. Joffrey approaches from behind.
I'm sorry, son. I didn't know how you felt about her.
Honey, it's gonna be okay.
Interior Publishing Office day. Margaret is cleaning out and packing her office. Boxes can be seen all over the place. There's a reluctance in her every move. She picks up a box and heads out of her office towards the cubicle farm.
Jordan?
Margaret is searching for him. He's not at his desk. Finally, she spots her target down the way.
Jordan! Jordan! I need for you to send the boxes in my office to this address right here, please. This one right here. This right here. Okay, can you do that?
Yeah. Sure.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Miss Tate?
Yes. What?
She looks up and sees Richard walking towards her.
Hey.
Richard, why are you panting?
Because I've been running.
Really? From Alaska?
I need to talk to you.
Yeah, well, I don't have time to talk. I need to catch the 5:45 to Toronto.
Margaret.
Margaret turns back towards Jordan and addresses him, handing him directions.
I need the boxes to go out today. I want to make sure everything is...
Margaret, stop talking!
Pause. She turns around.
Gotta say something.
Okay.
This will just take a sec.
Fine. What?
3 days ago, I loathed you. I used to dream about you getting hit by a cab. Or poisoned.
That's nice.
I told you to stop talking. Then we had a little adventure up in Alaska and things started to change. Things changed when we kissed and when you told me about your tattoo. Even when you checked me out when we were naked.
Naked?
Well, I didn't see anything.
Oh, yeah, you did. But I didn't realize any of this until I was standing alone in a barn. Wifeless. Now you can imagine my disappointment when it suddenly dawned on me that the woman I love is about to be kicked out of the country. So Margaret, marry me. Because I'd like to date you.
No, everyone in the office is touched by this. So many awes.
Trust me, you don't really want to be with me.
Yes, I do.
See, the thing is, there's a reason why I've been all alone this time. I'm comfortable that way, and I think it would be just a lot easier if we, forgot everything that happened and I just left.
Richard approaches Margaret, moving in close.
You're right. That would be easier.
There is a long pause as they each take in the weight of the moment. Tears forming in Margaret's eyes.
I'm scared.
Richard moves in and kisses Margaret in a beautiful moment with the music swelling.
Me too.
Aren't you supposed to, get down on your knee or something?
I'm going to take that as a yes.
Oh, okay.
They start kissing in the middle of the office again. All the workers are watching. You'd think they'd be more disturbed by him falling in love with the Dragon Lady. After all, they weren't in Alaska to get to know the real her. They're missing out on all the context.
Yeah, show her who's boss, Andrew / Richard.
They laugh and kiss some more. A lot. I think their lips are starting to chap. Nicely done. Dear Leon, INS office.
So, let me see if I've got this right. You two are engaged again.
Yes.
Yes.
For real.
Yes.
You want to go through with this? Because one wrong answer, I'm gonna take you down.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Interior INS interview room montage on Richard.
When did you first start to date?
Last week.
That going well?
So far, it's great. Thank you.
On Margaret.
What kind of deodorant does Richard use?
Min speed stick?
What flavor? Musk? Alpine?
Pause. On both.
Was it love at first sight?
Oh,
On Joffrey and Debbie.
Order from the beginning.
Joffrey turns to Debbie adoringly. Back on Richard.
What side of the bed does she sleep on?
Sleeps on the left.
What side of the bed do you sleep on?
New interview with Ramon.
Look, are they soulmates?
Gives a maybe gesture.
I don't know. Will they kill each other? No.
Interview with Margaret alone.
Are you a good driver?
oh, excellent driver. Excellent.
On Richard as he makes crashing noises and imitates a car crash with his hands. Just like Travis. Then imitates another car coming in to making siren noises. Back with Ramon.
In my mind, I see here was someone perhaps more swarthy, bear-like.
Now an interview with Grandma Annie.
We don't use the word Margaret around Kevin. He hasn't warmed up to her. Margaret. Margaret. See? It's the damnedest thing.
Back to the interview with Margaret.
I have never farted in front of him, nor will I ever fart in front of him.
She farts in her sleep.
Interview with Ramon.
Would you consider Margaret a good dancer?
Oh, you can tell by the way she drinks her soda that she is a good dancer.
How is the soda pop relevant to the dancing?
I don't understand this question.
Me too. Back to Margaret and Richard in quick succession.
I call him Puppy,
Pumpkin.
Monkey,
Easy.
Kiddo.
Bird.
Sometimes I call him Rick.
Back with Ramon.
How do you spell Ramon?
Ramone.
Could you do that again in English, please?
Back with Margaret and Richard.
When you say, the position in the relationship,
Top or bottom?
you're asking a question about who's on top.
I think she's asking me the question if they were on top. I think who's on top.
Oh, sorry.
What? You took an oath when you walked in this office.
I did not take an oath. Wait, when did I take an oath?
Laura should have done that, but she didn't. That's okay.
Who's Laura?
She's the girl behind you. Don't look around.
On Ramon.
God damn it. Which of the following numbers is not a prime?
17.
I'm sorry. Let me say the list, please.
Back on Margaret.
I'm sorry?
You know your favorite color.
Blue?
Wrong.
Red?
No.
Dark? Like maybe hunter green?
No. White.
White?
Okay, moving on.
Now just Richard.
Favorite color is blue.
What's her favorite color when she's not at home?
I don't know.
And with Ramon again.
Oh boy.
Are you a citizen of the country, Ramon?
Ramon is taken aback.
Yes, I am a citizen. Are you crazy?
What relevance does a ball and a nut or a fruit roll up or Pop-Tart has to do with my relationship with Andrew?
Who's Andrew?
I mean, Richard. With Richard.
If you're getting excited, who are you engaged to?
Richard.
Very good. Got one right.
Back with just Richard.
Who are you engaged to?
I'm engaged to Margaret Tate.
And on the wedding day, who will be next to you?
I'm going to marry Margaret Tate.
On Margaret.
Final answer?
That worked, yeah. Final answer.
Back on Richard.
Is this a game show? Are you Regis? I don't understand what's going on.
Back with Ramon.
God bless America, lands that I love. Oh, it's a good song. Yeah.
That was beautiful. That was really beautiful.
Mamacas.
I didn't read through the whole script, so I apologize if things kind of got repeated there. It was kind of fun. Everybody did a wonderful job. Thank you for watching and have a good night.